Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Crastinators podcast. I'm your host for today, Tom Oliver, and with us we have a bunch of scoundrels, starting with the digital boy himself.
Staring deep into my favorite haunted photograph.
Hooray! Hippo is here.
It's up, bitches. It's Chad one.
Yeah.
Right now.
Amazing. Lethal Laura Mage.
Hello, Digi, is that image you're staring at, is it of a figurine of that cursed life-size doll thing?
No, it's a picture of me and Gigic drunk as shit with a representative from Bandai Namco in a Sword Art Online bordered image that we didn't know we were taking until we did.
That's even worse. Nate is here.
The amount of joy I get from staring at my Radcon 3 Arena pin sitting next to my workstation every day is immeasurable.
I'm wearing the Radcon 3 Arena shirt right now. It's a great shirt.
Oh, shit.
Dude, it's right next to my Poobah pin.
Yeah, I feel that way every time I see the Poobah pin that's still in the little plastic little thing, because I don't know what to do with pins, but it somehow it appears in different rooms throughout the house.
Whoa, it's alive.
Nice.
It's definitely traveling.
We have the Devu with us.
To lightly paraphrase Friedrich Nietzsche, suicide is in my blood. It always was. But it doesn't evaporate in the light anymore.
I know that feel. And Munchie!
Hey guys, did you know that actual real Shakespearean actor Jason Alexander, known for his role as George Costanza, is now going to be typecasted in all of his roles now because he played one character in Seinfeld, and because of that, in a Disney movie, Hunchback of Notre Dame, he was cast as a comic relief gargoyle in a real-ass horror drama movie, and he says lines in the middle of Quasimodo singing about how he wants to be perceived as real human. He says, "Cut the wine and pour the cheese," and makes fart noises.
God, those gargoyles are the worst part of that movie.
What a modern tragedy.
He played an insane murderer in an episode of CSI once.
He played Shallow
Just
Hal.
to clarify, we are talking about...
I think
He had
he
a
played
tail. He had
a
a tail in
comic
that
foil
movie.
straight man, hotel clerk in Duncan Checks In, so he's not always on the offensive of goof.
You know, these days I hear he's been, like, making 45-minute video game analysis videos on YouTube.
That's exciting. Jay,
What?
Yeah, Joseph Alexander, right?
Oh.
Hey,
his
there's
name,
a restaurant.
Right? I didn't fuck
I've
that
mentioned
up,
this
did I?
before.
No, it's Joseph Anderson.
Oh, God damn it.
Not his name,
It's
by the
Jason
way.
Alexander.
It's Alexander the Great.
No, it's fucking Joseph Anderson. You fucking none of the words are the same.
It
Hey, there's a
sounds
restaurant
similar
nearby.
enough that it made sense as a joke in my head.
Well,
You know what, never mind. I've already told the terrible story about how I thought Jay Alexander's restaurant was made by Jason Alexander. It turns out it's not, and my disappointment is
It's made from
immeasurable.
Jay from Red Letter Media.
DG, this is what you do with pins, is you gotta get a good fucking satchel. Alright,
Okay.
here's the thing now. I've talked about this show how I want a purse, and I do want a purse, but I can't get a purse or else my mom will kill me. So, what I have to do is I have to get a satchel. And I've been searching, and all satchels are shit. I love the idea of a satchel, but they fucking suck. And so you have
No,
to go
you
on
just
Amazon,
gotta go
you
to
have
Kendall
find
and
someone
Hyde
that's,
and
like,
get
all
that
gray
real leather, you know?
You know,
Okay,
in
I'm
college...
gonna write that down. But I've only seen like shitty, like trying too hard. This one company called Nutsack. That's like, oh, this isn't a fucking purse. This is a satchel. Trust me, I'm not gay.
Right,
Like,
here's what you do with
I-
that. You play up the girliness of it, but you also accentuate your arm hair. So like your arm hair is always on display, and you're clutching your purse. But it's like, you're clutching your girly purse, but
you're always clutching it like as hard as you
to show
can, and
to
then,
show your
like,
male power.
You're barely visible.
So
above
your
the
finger power to
messenger
crush it as
all
hard as you
your
can,
veins.
just to show you are a strong man.
But in fucking Italy, which we'll get into later, but this is a quick aside. I met this fucking guy who was my tour guide for a thing, and he had this fucking sick ass satchel that was like black and looked super gender neutral, but wasn't trying too hard to be manly, and it also just was really cool and small and looked convenient as hell, and he rocked it super fucking hard, and also his arm hair was
Fun
accentuated,
fact,
and I
all
am
European
gay.
men are gay. Bisexual at least. So, you know, just keep
Why
that in
don't
mind.
you
should've
asked that
Choosing
guy-
fashion tips after him.
I did! And he said, "Oh, I did. It was like this. I do not remember who
Damn
said
it.
it." And I looked really hard. Like I stopped him in place and I said, "You can't leave yet." And then I looked really hard at his satchel, and it had the words "Bon Bon" on it. I've tried to search "Bon Bon" satchel, but I can't find it.
You gotta go to like the little Italian leatherwork, like marketplace. Like be like, "Hey, look at the bags."
That's
see,
real.
that's not how they speak.
Oh, okay. Well, I have a lot to say about that, but I don't want to get ahead of myself. Me and Hippo have both gone on trips. We've both gone on World Globe-Trotting adventures. It's
been a summer of trips.
But say all the shit that no one cares about first, so that we can.
Good idea.
Well, we don't need to do that now. This is the formless version of the show. We just do. Yeah, we go with le flow.
Well, I don't want to immediately run over the show with an info dump and also then head over to Hippo, who will also info dump. And then the rest of you fucking pigeons will
last time we literally just let Ben talk about keto for like an hour and a half. So, like,
yeah, it was
it's
great.
all good.
It was great. This is Munchie, this is the spirit of the Formless Cast. This is the topic of the day. We want to hear about your trip and
This is like I'm like a fucking liberal. I'm a liberal noble who is just overthrown fucking Louis XVI, and now the Overton window is expediting so fucking far that now that even though I was on like the far end of the spectrum, now I'm just a conservative, reactionary, ultra conservative, counter-revolutionary, and Nate Maximilian Nate Pierre is going to fucking chop my head off before I can even get a word in.
I was telling you to go on about it though. It's the opposite of what I was trying to say. All right, whatever.
Okay. I assume that we don't want like a blow by blow because that's kind
Give
of
us the
boring.
overview.
All you need to know about the shit that
Give us the overview. Then you can get into funny memes.
I've gone to all the places where you gotta go. I've gone to the Colosseum, I've gone to the Vatican, I spit in the Pope's fucking face, and I sodomized him right then and there. Everyone watched and cheered me on. I went to all the places that you need to. And here, I'm about to co-opt this shit, because this is no longer the Procrastinators podcast. This is no longer audio entertainment. This is a post on my personal Tumblr. Call-out post for the Leaning Tower of Pisa. Your fave is problematic, the Leaning Tower of Pisa.
What'd it do to you?
Okay, here's the real shit. Here's the fucking shit that you need to fucking know about the Leaning Tower of Pisa and all its ilk. All the tourist traps and the fucking black people trying to sell you purses. All the black people near the Coliseum right up to you like, high five me, man. And you're like, no, get away from me. And then they grab onto you. They're like, no, high five me. And then you say no and you run away and they say, I'm happy for you, man. And then you know they're gonna like try and get some lonely other cuck to fucking high five them. And then you're trapped. All right, here's the deal. Here's the fucking deal. You go to Italy. You look up Italy on the map and you say, oh, I'm gonna go to fucking Italy. And you know why you go there? Number one reason, because it's authentic, because it's rustic. And you go to Olive Garden. And you think, what if Olive Garden was really big? And that's what Italy is. And that's what you think it's gonna be. So you go there because you want handmade shit. You want handmade pasta. You want to roll your own dough. You want to cook your own dough, Jerry. It's a make your own pizza pie restaurant where they get make
they
the
fucking
pizzas.
stole the idea of the make your own pizza pie concept from Italy. This is some bullshit. All right.
It's fucking crazy. So you go there and you want to be a rustic and authentic. And then you go there, and because you're a fucking sheep, because you're my mom, because you're a fucking 40-year-old, and by 40-year-old I mean 50-year-old baby boomer who just wants to be told what to do. They don't want to experience the real shit, even though that's what you came here so you can be authentic. You want to come here and you want to be like, oh, what do I have to do? What do people say to do? And now I have to do it because I'm a fucking sheep. And like, oh, you know, why do I want to go to the Colosseum? It's not because I care about history. It's because I have to do it. It's what you do. The Leaning Tower of Pisa. Here's the thing about the Leaning Tower of Pisa. It's a tower that leans. You can't go inside the Leaning Tower of Pisa. I mean, I think you can, but you have to a special pass, and I was not able to do that. And most people do not do it, so it's not really a main attraction of it. So Leaning Tower of Pisa is a tower that leans that you look at from the outside, kind of far away. That's where the road is. You know how else you could intake that information? Is looking at a picture of Leaning Tower of Pisa. What has everyone done for fucking a million years as long as they've been alive? Look at pictures of Leaning Tower of Pisa. So you've intaken all the information that you possibly could. Now, I liked going to the Colosseum. I liked doing that kind of stuff because you could intake more information. You know, I haven't really seen a lot of pictures of the inside of the Colosseum. It was nice to be able to be there and have a tour guide be like, oh, this is where people were sodomized 1,000 times over. I was like, wow, I wish that would happen to me sometime soon, please. And it was great. It was new information. But the Lean Tower of Pisa, here's the fucking thing. When you're around shit, you get shit. So you go to Lean Tower of Pisa because it's what you have to do. It's what, you can type on Facebook, checked in Lean Tower of Pisa, and your fucking Aunt Sally can be like, oh my god, the Lean Tower of Pisa is like my fucking dead husband's dick! And then she can like it and retweet it. And that's the shit that you want, because that's the only thing you care about is fucking likes because you're 40 years old and you're a baby boomer. DeVoe! What?
You make Italy sound like the Anne Orlando of Europe, where it's like everywhere you're supposed to go there. It's the coolest place. And it is cool, but I kind of wish you could wander around a lot more and you weren't kind of strung through a little bit.
Well, the problem
there...
Munchie, real quick, I'm just noticing. I don't need to rehash it or anything, but your description of what to do in Italy reminds me of my recent trip to Hawaii, and I think the reason I had such a wonderful, magnificent time the whole time was because I got to go wherever I wanted to go because I am an adult, unlike you, and I paid for it myself, unlike you. So I think this is the distinction here.
Yeah.
I was empowered to do whatever I wanted.
That's the thing, like Munchie said, and for what it's worth, 50-year-olds are Gen Xers, but for that generation, they very much are like, they go to the place to go see the thing they've already heard of. And to me, like Munchie said, yeah, it's like, if I'm going there, show me the part of Italy that I will not get in a brochure. Show me the part that's like crazy and real.
This story perfectly encapsulates what I'm talking about. It's just one day we were driving and we saw a little beach. It's a crazy cliffside. I took videos of it. They're on my Instagram and stuff. But like that day we couldn't go there because we're rushing off somewhere else. I'm like, I don't care about anything else on this island. I want to go there. And then the day we were leaving, when we had spare time, I'm like, fuck everything else. We're going to that one place. And we went there, and it was the best time there. I got to go there. I fulfilled my personal little self-determination dreams. It was awesome, and I felt great about it. And I didn't have to miss out on anything.
Yeah,
that's the good shit.
I went to a county fair just yesterday, and after having
oh my god, Devu, county fairs are like a glimpse into like all the like media from other countries talking about how Americans are retarded and like easily dissuaded, and how commercials brainwash you. You don't believe it, and then you go to a county fair and you recognize that your culture is fucking pure poison. American culture is poison. I've only
what is a county fair? Clarify what exactly is a county fair?
It's just a bunch of fucking country shit, right? So this one had food.
Nothing wrong with country shit.
Like really it's that kind of like really greasy food where you can taste the flavor of all the unhygienic cooking conditions, which really give it that flavor, similar to catching.
Like what?
Similar to how you catch a fish
that
that swam around deep in the dirtiest parts of the ocean. You can just taste every single microfiber of that 6-pack plastic container that it ate in its lifetime. It's the same kind of thing. It's like, wow, this corn dog was like $1.50 or $2, but it was cooked on a fryer that has like more crufty gunk than it has meat. So clearly,
and that's personality.
Clearly, that's where all the flavor's coming from, right? So it's also got a bunch of animals. You mostly just look at their butts because all the cows are turned away from you. But the animals are mostly there not to be gawked at by the passersby, but mostly to be evaluated for which cow is the best. Like professionals come in and give it a ranking and shit, that kind of thing. Like who grew the best fucking cow, who grew the best goat. Dude. But the regular civilians can check it out too and be like, "Oh, cool."
Oh, so is this like those things in cartoons where it's always like the biggest kumquat contest or whatever? Like,
yeah, kind of like that. But not.
Kumquat.
It's a lot less engaged.
Nice.
And then they have some rides, some real shitty, rickety, fairgrounds type rides that they installed in like 3 hours.
It's stuff like Disneyland or like Knott's Berry Farm, and you have that your pussy friend that's like, I don't want to ride the roller coaster. It's always easy to be like, listen, it's way more expensive for these people to have you live than for you to die. That's how I convince people to go on a roller coaster.
What?
It's because they're going to have to do a ton of paperwork if you die.
Yeah.
So they're going to make this ride way safe. They're going to make this ride as safe as possible so that you don't die. But at fairs, I really don't feel like that. I feel like they don't care and they just will let you die.
Wheel, he was laying down on part of the steel of the Ferris wheel with, I shit you not, all the mechanisms and gears and like bending and like prolapsing steel that was like moving in a circle 4 fucking inches away from his head and his shoulder. He found the exact leaning position with which to not be immediately, instantly mutilated by the machine so that he could be as depression as possible.
Okay, I need to fully illustrate Davu. Does your county fair look like this? This picture that I'm uploading right now, and I'll put in the show notes. It's fucking uploading right now because my
pretty
country
similar.
fair,
Although this one is way more populated, and
okay.
Although
The
yours is a
country
little bit
fair
less
to
white.
me is
Fair enough.
oh lol. Yeah, there's a lot of Asians in San Diego. Anyway, my country fair is shit food, like unbelievably terrible food for $10 or $11 each. You see that little corn dog over there? That corn dog probably costs like $6.
That's why I never go to these fucking things. It's like
vomit.
Everything is so expensive, and none of it's worth anything.
Exactly.
Look at the graphic design. Wall to fucking wall, you have the most fucking disgusting, horrible, unappetizing, nightmare fucking Photoshop amalgamations of nightmares on either fucking side of you, and they all cost $1,000. There's terrible rides, but here's the thing. If it was just that, I would think, haha, like shit food, this is really entertaining me. But here's the thing. Here's the most insidious thing about the county fairs. Is, like, I guess I would call them the exhibition halls. You guys have been, like, artist alleys.
Oh, yeah,
and,
we had one of those, too.
Stuff like that. Imagine if that, but instead of, like, like grassroots fucking, furry porn artists who you want to commission, you want to support going on. It's like weird bumfuck conspiracy theory. Get this sleeve for your wallet, so when you go through the airports, they can't track your soul. That's the kind of shit. It's stuff like that, and like hot tubs, and just a bunch of scammy old fucking white people shit that they all have greeters for, and they're all like, you walk by. Okay, here's a real fucking thing that was literally said to me in real life, not fucking VR chat, not Second Life. This was in real life. I got Dippin' Dots because I'm fat and I wanted to be fatter because I wanted to be brainwashed. And so I got Dippin' Dots and I walked by a greeter who was like, he had just some fucking broom and he wanted to pedal it like it was the super broom. And I walked by and he said, "All right, you got the Dippin' Dots, now you gotta get the broom." What's the segue there? What are you trying to accomplish? I'm not going to get your broom.
The county fair
I have no
also
reason
had
to.
what was called a commercial center or whatever. It was in a chilled out building. It was in a building with air conditioning. So went there, and it's just a bunch of booths of people peddling their citywide wares. So there was like a little booth for like the hearing center where you can go in and get a test for how good your hearing is to see if you need hearing aids. There was someone running for some Democrat office in the city, someone running for some Republican office in the city. There was a gaming booth for like Magic and shit. It seems like they're opening up a gaming booth, but didn't look like it would be that good. And there was like a power and light building or just booth, but then there was also a pro-life booth. So we checked that one out, right? It has a little CG like movie playing on the screen of a fetus growing over time. And it had 3
that's
rubber models of fetuses at different stages of development. Like, here's the 12 weeks, here's the 15 weeks, right? It had pamphlets being like abortion, a lifetime of regret, that kind of thing. And it even
that's
had
cool. Show me a fully grown baby that I can slam dunk into the trash can. That's what I want.
And there was also, we actually took this little flyer showing the number of sexual partners you have in a 10-year span, and then it has a little algorithm to calculate the number of people, all with potential STDs on their junks, that you have now exposed yourself to. And based on its own algorithm, if you have had 10 distinct sexual partners in the last decade, then you have exposed yourself to 65,143 people or something like that. I don't know how the fucking numbers work.
Well, they did some math there for, like, I don't know, number of sex people have probably with each other.
Wouldn't this have to assume that everyone who you fucked has fucked as many people as you have before you fucked them?
I don't get it. There might be some logic to it. We also took a pencil. It said, life is precious. So I figure anytime I'm going to, like, tell someone to not get an abortion, I'll write it in that pencil. And of course, and so my fiance, she does a very smart thing of like making her point, but
Getting
in the
an
form of a
abortion.
question. She says, "So what kind of efforts are you guys taking to like support women who like don't get the abortion and now don't have any like safety
none, 'cause
network?
they're sluts,
and like
obviously.
old ass motherfucking woman, right? Who presumably based on those algorithms must have like joined the fucking faith after being in an orgy of 20 people and is now how she forever perceives all sexual activity to be." Like 40 years ago or something. Anyway, she's like, "Oh well, a little bit, helping some women with single moms. But we do it a bit. It depends on the town."
Why do they act so cowardly? Why don't they say we don't fuck them? But that's what I would say if I were them. I mean, just stick to your principles.
Just take every CG artist you are fucking hiring to animate all the fallopian tubes, and then spend that money on some fucking like drive them to the food.
Fuck that! I need work.
I
God
really
damn
want
it.
to know. I want to know who ever is gonna stand in front of that fucking movie and be like, "Oh my god, you're right." It
was cool. It was like really like
about the
retro
long
style
game.
3D animation. It reminded me of 3D pipes, like watching the fallopian tubes like grow and shit. It was just like 3D pipes on Windows 95.
Whoa.
It was
That would
really
convince
retro.
me.
Okay, guys,
Fetus wave.
here's a question for you. Is it abortion, ergo a lifetime of eternal damnation, if you crush a fruit before it's
Oh
ripe?
shit!
Is it abortion?
Is that? I mean, but at that point, wouldn't that be just killing a child?
Well,
Like if you eat
not,
a seed, you're aborting a potential fruit.
In this metaphor, the tree would be like the child. A fruit is like an egg or like a seed
Yeah.
or whatever.
No.
Well, yeah,
What?
fruits are not alive.
Fruits are not like the actual
Yeah.
product. They're the containers.
They're
You
a
don't
vessel.
have fruit
Wait,
to
rights.
deliver the
fruits
seed.
Are they not
Yeah.
plants?
Yeah, fruits are there to like provide nutrients for the seed
Sexual
when they go in the
Satisfaction
ground
to humans.
Yeah.
and stuff. Or like when animals eat.
It's the same reason why semen tastes so good. It's so that you'll spread it around, and try it out, ladies.
Hey man,
That sigh of defeat.
there's semen cookbooks out there and shit.
There sure are.
I did not want to know that.
Oh shit. I didn't finish my fucking
Oh, yeah.
call out post. The first part of it is don't go to shit unless you have an actual reason to go. Like another thing, just to quickly illustrate that again. There's a building, there's a cathedral in Florence called the Duomo, and I have no fucking clue what's inside this building. It looks pretty from the outside. I sketched in my sketchbook. It was nice. But my mom, for like a while, was like, "We gotta go inside the Duomo," and then I finally just asked her like 5 or 6 times. Of her saying that we got to. I said, "What's inside that you want to see?" And she was like,
It's called the Duomo, dude.
I
really
know.
think, and I know I've said this
It's
in
a
a couple
named
of recent
building.
podcasts.
It's you want to go inside the Duomo to relive Assassin's Creed 2 because it
Yeah.
is the same building that you can go inside, and it's like, I remember jumping up that painting,
Yeah.
dude.
No, I really.
Anyway, the second part of why your fave is problematic in Leaning Tower of Pisa is because around all the shit, around the fucking Duomo, actually the Duomo was pretty good, but around like the Colosseum, around the Vatican, all that kind of shit, they know that if you're coming here, you're obviously brain dead. You obviously have no fucking wits about you, and you can easily be persuaded to do whatever these people want you to do. So around the fucking Leaning Tower of Pisa, there's not that authentic Italian food that you came to fucking Italy for. There's none of that shit. There's fucking menus in English. That's how you fucking know. Here's how you know if a fucking restaurant's gonna be bad in Italy, is if it's one in English, or if it has like pictures of it, or any stuff like that. Like you can just tell. You can tell something's gonna be shit if it has like pictures of the food that it has on it, because they know people don't have time to read. So they're like, usually spaghetti looks like
Munch,
this.
as soon as you were going to Italy,
Terrible.
It reminded me of an NPR story I heard. There's this guy who he's like the food reporter for NPR, and he said on Italy specifically, he said the way you know that you're going to a good real nibba place in Italy is to you only want to go to places that use catch of the day, that have like a catch of the day, and have a handwritten menu on the door. It's like a family place because that's the fresh shit and that's the real shit.
And Osteria. That's
Oh, yeah.
what they call
Yeah.
it, Osterias. That's like family restaurant. So you got terrible fucking Disneyland tier food. But a side note, by the way, Disneyland has the worst food imaginable. I've been there recently. All of their food it's like country fair food. It's like terrible and like $10. Anyway, it has like Disneyland tier food, absolutely terrible. And it's not like, just the food's bad. Everything around it is so fucking fake and sterile. None of it is authentic Italian shit. It's all fucking tourist trap bullshit. You go to Leaning Tower of Pisa because you want to experience, assumably you want to experience Italian architecture, you want to experience romantic architecture, and then you look to the side of Leaning Tower of Pisa and you see a fucking guy wrangling a horse and a guy in a fucking sandwich panini outfit next to him. You see them fucking dancing like they're in some fair. You hear them screaming Italian words to try and get you to donate to them. Look at this! This is the next Leaning Tower of Pisa! It's the sandwich man!
Oh god,
see this.
It's like that at pretty much all of the major tourist attractions around the world. Like if you go to Egypt or something, right next to the outside the like range of the photograph of the if you literally turned your camera like 30 degrees to the side, it'd just be like bam, stalls.
Right. I remember there was a whole Cracked article about that. They like showed you all the famous landmarks that people go to, and they showed you the typical tourist attraction pamphlet photographs, and then they showed you the photos like right next to it, and it's crowded with fucking people.
What's really funny about that to me is that like people then go there and they take their own pictures of the thing and they try to excise all the extra shit, and I'm like, to me that's the most interesting and funny part. Like if I was going to take a picture of the pyramid, I would want to capture all of that in it because that is fucking hilarious.
Fake. I remember first becoming really cognizant of how repulsive smartphone culture has turned the human genome into when there was this light news story going around about this flight attendant lady who lost her shit mid-flight and like probably had like only like 2 hours of sleep over the course of 2 days, and she just like started screaming fucking 9,000 feet up in the air, right? And the news broadcasts this phone recording that someone took, and it's just her screaming, right? But what was more interesting to me about the true nature of the human condition is that this wasn't the only person filming. In between the frame of this camera and the woman in the middle screaming, there are at least 12, probably 20 other fucking stupid cockney hands jutting out, holding their phones, and also recording. So everyone has decided to elect this poor woman a fucking paparazzi rape in the eyes of human society, to turn her into a celebrity, but only with the negative gossipy elements without any of the fame or respect. That is what, and then every single person thought.
What fame or respect does she deserve as a flight attendant freaking out on a plane?
Like having a mental breakdown.
How
maybe
is she
needs
being
help.
done wrong here exactly?
Maybe she doesn't need to be
understand.
filmed by 20 fucking people. And every single person who decided to put up their fucking camera.
But you only saw one person's phone, so like, what's the difference? Like, one is all it took, right?
Right, but like everyone now knows. Well, everyone else here is recording it. I want my own recording. That way, sometimes when I'm looking
that's what's always
back
weird to me about it. Like, I'll go to a concert and there'll be like 30 people with their phones out recording the concert, and I'm like, you're at the concert. Like, what are you gonna do with this recording with shitty audio and shitty visuals? Like, are you gonna post this online? You see that 30 other people are recording it. So like, let the guy with the good angle do the recording and let him post it on YouTube, and the rest of you fucking enjoy the show.
I want proof
that you went there.
I want to prove to my friends on Facebook that I'm cool.
If you were to pull out your camera
things.
and take one little picture and be like, there you go, I was at the show, fine. I see people who will sit there and be recording the whole fucking time. Like, or like whichever song they like, they have to record that song. And it's like, it's gonna sound like dick and you know it. Just experience it. You're here at the show! Watch it now!
Yeah, and every time I've done it myself, I look back and think, well, I'm never going to go back and watch it. And, but
it's not even just that you won't go back and watch it. It's that if you spend the whole time that you could be watching it filming it, that means at no point did you watch the show. You have watched your camera, and then you've watched your camera again in the future, so the only version you've ever taken in is a shit version,
And
as
this is what I
opposed to
was-
the actual real show that's
And this
happening.
is what I was getting to with talking about the fair that I went to yesterday, because every once in a while when I get out of the house to do a thing, to do an activity, I'm reminded of how not so different it is on the internet. Right now I'm looking at my screen and I see a thumbnail and a title, 107 Facts About Nintendo's Princess Peach by the Super Coin Crew, 1.3 million views. And and it's not actually all that weird that people waste their lives on YouTube so much, because all you can do is go outside and waste your life while also spending money. It's the only other alternative. Yeah. All the fucking non-millennials who go places and quote-unquote do things don't have fucking anything to do. No one on this goddamn earth has a sense of purpose in life, and we're all faking it. 90% of all economic transactions are bullshit in which the consumer is trying to kid themselves into there being a point. At the fucking fair, there was a stall. My fiance says, we gotta buy at least one thing at the fair. So there's a stall...
God.
I
used to have that.
Oh, that's the fucking economic equivalent of we gotta go to the
I used to have that. Like every time we would go to like a zoo or like anything that had a gift shop, I was like, well, I gotta have a souvenir.
Yeah.
I gotta have like something. And I look around, and even though I don't buy anything from any gift shop anymore, I still look around to see just in case that there is something cool.
The stall.
But there never is.
I learned my lesson.
I personally just would want to buy
this
like
stall
a plushie
consisted.
that's cute.
50% of this stall was like a bunch of like $15 like pocket watches that they probably like whoever ran this stall probably like has some sort of warehouse or something. They're just trying to get rid of some shit, right? Oof. And then the other 50% is stuff that you would literally trade in at a Chuck E. Cheese for 10 tickets that you've won, like socks or 2-cent rings made of plastic. And I looked at this and I thought, this is the biggest. We have Amazon.com, We can buy random things. We don't need like this. All this shitty tat has no bearing on the actual fair. It doesn't have the dignity of being homemade and full of fucking bacteria like the corn dogs do, where it at least makes sense. You're not gonna be able to get that at Sonic, right? But this is just shit that you got out of a fucking box.
What my family, I just want to say, what my family does, they buy like little magnets of pictures of the place they went to, as it's like, oh yeah, I went there, sort of thing.
Well, you know what, guys? I just brought up how much I love my Radcon 3 pin at the beginning of this. It's not that the pin is valuable; it's the memories. And if I didn't have this pin, I would think about how much I loved Radcon 3 a lot less. This is actually a very beneficial thing in my life.
That's one thing. But I think that the difference is with Radcon 3, you only got one of those pins if you actually helped to make it even fucking possible.
True.
When you go to random place A and you just buy some insanely overpriced thing that is just that literally anyone who's been there could have had. It's like, I understand that maybe looking at it will make you remember that experience, but I feel like instead of doing that, you should just go have another experience.
It's not that. You don't need to buy anything. For the last, I think, 8 years or something, I've had this journal that I bring to every holiday event and Radcons. And I write down, at the end of every day, something that happened, and the purpose of that is to jog my memory when I read it back. Oh yeah, I love Radcon! And that is my version of whatever souvenir I may have had from any holiday. It's so much more effective as well because it's my own handwriting, it's my own thing.
Sure, but some people just want to save time by just buying something that'll do that.
I know, but I think it's worse. I think it's not as effective.
Nate, here's the thing. The difference between the Radcon pin and some shitty fucking little figurine that you could... some shitty fluorescent pink Michelangelo's David that you could buy at the Leaning Tower of Pisa, even though it's not even the same fucking city. The difference between that is that with the Radcon 3 pin, it's that you were given that. You were given that because, again, like Digi said, you're a part of it, but you were given that, and that symbolizes a thing that just happened naturally, in the sense that, you were at Radcon 3, you have this pin to signify it. When you go and specifically buy buy something for the purpose of remembering it. You're not going to remember the entirety of the trip that you've just been on. You're going to remember the memory of you buying that pin. The best souvenir of you having like a memory jogging item is the stuff that just will naturally happen. Like for instance, I'm on this legendary food tour that I will explain in great detail later that changed my life. And the souvenir I have to remember that is not some little fucking, little figurine that I got along the way. It's the business card of my food tour guide. And that's not something that I bought. It's just something that naturally occurred. And that's far more impactful to me than making a conscious decision, oh, I will remember this via this item. I feel like that's not something that you can accurately
I hear your point. I hear your point. But, like, for example, there is this photograph I think it's sitting in my bedroom right now, of me and Michelle when we went to just a Korean restaurant. And we just had like the lady. She had a Polaroid camera and just like offered to take a picture of us, and she did. And so we just got that picture, and like that's great. If she had given us like I don't know, just like a little knickknack to remember it, that'd be fine. But like it's the same kind of thing. It's like the same.
I think
memories.
That there's.
I feel like that still fits into what I'm saying.
I don't understand the distinction. Like you're talking about how like your experience of going to the Leaning Tower of Pisa is like inauthentic, but you really did go and you really did have some experiences.
No, that's not what I'm saying at all.
Well, what's your point?
That's
what's your point then?
He's trying to say that if you go out of your way to purchase a trinket, then that is it's like you force that into the memory.
It's not the experience of going there. Exactly. That's a perfect way to say it.
I gotta go on about my parents because my parents travel all the time, and they always they do like all of it. They do every possible thing because not only do they go and they get a tattoo everywhere they go, so they'll get matching tattoos that sort of in some way represent where they've been.
How much
That's cool.
available skin
do
they have?
Then they also buy a bunch of like bullshit, but the weirdest part is that they buy a bunch of shit for us. Like they'll go to a souvenir shop and they'll buy things for me and Victor and Shade, and then they'll give them to us, and I'll be like, this means literally nothing to me because I did not go to this place, and this thing you bought, like, what does this commemorate? That you went somewhere? Like, yeah, I'll be sure to look at this and remember that you went to Mexico, And all of those things go straight into my closet. Because they're all fucking useless, and they mean nothing to me.
Well, they buy those for themselves to give as a gift, because the people like giving gifts.
Right, and I'm always just like, I don't know why you do this, because they spend a lot of money, buying, like, random fucking trinkets that mean nothing to me.
I want to interject.
They want to be nice.
I want to interject. Like, there is, like, it's in Lithuania, at least with my family, there is a custom to sort of, like, bring back gifts or souvenirs from wherever you go or travel. Even if, like, all you did was travel to, like, I don't know, a different town, not necessarily for any sort of leisurely, like, reason, just, for business or whatever. It's sort of like a bit of a custom, and it's just kind of like tradition. It's to be nice and, like, not doing it.
I hate the tradition. I think that tradition is evil and propagated by these businesses.
But if you don't do it, you'll be considered rude, and
that's a problem. That is a huge problem. Because, like, my parents, they brought me home one time, like a Hard Rock Cafe, like wooden miniature guitar that like sits on a little stand, and I'm like, you paid $20 for this thing that must have costed them 30 cents to produce, and it means nothing to me. So, like, why have you done this?
In Italy, there are Hard Rock Cafe stores and no restaurant. There are just
Hard
the
Rock Cafe
in Venice
is
and Rome. They are just
the worst
the stores.
thing that exists because it's literally it is just its own hype. There is nothing it symbolizes or represents except for itself. It is a place that you go to buy things that say Hard Rock Cafe on them and then say, I went to a Hard Rock Cafe in wherever. And it's like, who cares? They're literally everywhere. It's not special. We've all fucking been to one.
What's a Hard Rock Cafe?
It's a cafe that's like, in most major cities have one, and it'll be like a place. It's just a fucking restaurant that, like, because it exists everywhere, they play rock and roll music, and I guess at some point in the 50s, rock and roll bands had eaten at them, and therefore they, like, have posters of everyone who's ever been famous and eaten there.
Famous for being famous is essentially what it is at this point.
Like Munchie said, they have stores for it without even the cafe, so, like, at that point...
It's just like this weird meta meme that just hacks people's brains about what is a famous.
I know there's people in my family who will be like, oh, I've gone to the Hard Rock in every city, and I've got like a thing from every Hard Rock cafe, and I'm just like, why? Like, why if I went to a foreign country, why would I go to an American store and their installation within that foreign country?
Oh my god, that's such a big thing. There are so many people that go to like, oh, I just want to get like a McDonald's, because it's familiar when I'm in Italy. Are you fucking literally, like, is there no pulse?
Yeah.
Are you not alive?
Do you
not bleed?
Yeah.
Like, how could you be that stupid as to want to get something that's familiar when you're specifically in a place for the purpose of being in the unfamiliar?
It's
what is the,
I mean,
what is the
I
point?
assume American tourists are worse than other places. I guess English tourists are also bad. But
Yeah, I don't...
the idea of like going to a place just to say that you went there to your friends, like, your baby boomer friends, your Gen Xer friends, everyone has kids, and finally the kids are grown up enough so that you can go on holidays, or you drag your kids on holidays that they don't want to go on, to really, just to see the sights and to do all these things, and they do them because they're advertised as a thing to do, and they don't have the time in their lives to really think about whether or not it's a good idea. They're just like, I'm getting old, I've got kids, I haven't had a chance to live my life, I want to go to all these places that I've heard so much about.
This like lack of proper reflection on what actually makes you enjoy your life better,
Yeah.
When I realize the more adult I get and the more prices I observe, like the actual, like things that will actually make your life significantly better are often a lot cheaper than very expensive things that have nothing but hype behind them.
I've observed that like people going on trips is like such a huge time and money sink, and it's like you have to take time away from work, so that's already a bunch of money that you're potentially losing unless you're on vacation. Then you've got to spend all the money for the trip, like just getting there, staying there. Everything around wherever you're staying is more expensive than it would be normally. Everything is so much money, but then also nobody thinks about the fact that, hey, you're going to a foreign country. Guess what you don't have? Immunities to all the viruses that are naturally in the air there. So you always get sick, and then, like, someone gets pissed off because they're just not in a good mood. Maybe the weather's not exactly what you expected it to be there. So, like, your family ends up fighting about where they're going to go while they're in the town.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God.
And it's just nobody, like, I don't understand how people can experience that and then be like, now I'm going to go to the next one.
Yeah. None of these were a problem on my recent vacation
because did it right.
I am an adult who did it right.
To do
That's
it,
right.
And
That's right.
I kind of learned that from when I went to the Philippines, because it was funny. When I went there, I stayed for a month with Ghost Lightning in the middle of Manila, which is the capital city, and it's not where white people go. There were no white people. Mm-hmm. Generally, people don't speak English. There is not tourist attractions. There's nothing there for that type of person. And people kept asking him, like, why the hell are you showing him around Manila? Like, why don't you take him to, like, the beaches and stuff where people go? And it's like, because I come from Virginia Beach. The whole city is a tourist trap. I already know what the game is. If you go to the beach in Virginia Beach, it's just an endless series of super expensive hotels. The price at every restaurant, even though it's the same restaurants that they have all throughout the city, everything's jacked up $1.50 there. You have to pay for parking. The Atlantic Ocean is a disgusting cesspool that, like, there's no reason to go see it. Like, if the only people who come to Virginia Beach are people from the Midwest or New York who just want warm weather and the ocean, and they don't realize that, like, if you went to Miami or if you went to Hawaii, it would be like a zillion times nicer, But, like, so it's just a shit tourist trap, but people come there constantly, and the city's whole fucking economy is based on that. And so it's like, I have nothing but cynicism for tourist places. But going to Manila, nothing there was like anything I'd seen before. First of all, there is no green anywhere in the fucking city. Oh. So it was like, whoa, this is a fucking concrete jungle. This is like, there's billboards everywhere. Every square inch of city it's literally a fucking cyberpunk dystopia. Like, and like, all the food is something I've never had before. There's all these weird little stalls, like, all over the place of people just selling, like, shit they made in their fucking, in their backyard that makes you sick, and you're like, it costs 50 cents, and you're like, hell yeah. This is the life you're supposed to be living.
Come to think of it, like, Italy is famous not because they built giant shit out of marble, but because they killed everyone in the world, stole all of their marble, and turned it into cool-ass buildings. In other words, it's not the opulence or the fanciness, it's the fucking violence and the death. It's the fucking, it's the goddamn plagues that make some of these European landmarks interesting. So
you gotta go to that statue of the rape of the Sabian woman or whatever.
Yeah. I saw that
in the same way.
I saw it in Gunslinger Girl.
Oh god.
It's the same amount of enjoyment that you would get.
Go to concerts
probably got more.
ostensibly to experience an event, but then they just block it with their phone because they only ever understand how to experience an event by proxy. You can only go to an ancient town that was famous for a big war 1,000 years ago by proxy, but you can right now experience the mythology being crafted right now, which is to say, go to McDonald's and watch all the depressed fat people. This is the culture as it is. There's like this group of like 40-something super autist guys who go to this McDonald's and like you know, they're like upper mid functioning, and like this is the American mythology being crafted right now.
Tavu, I'm really glad you brought up McDonald's because you might have heard me talk about this way back in the day on like Digibro Never Shuts Up or something, that this thing Munchie's describing, I used to rant about all the time as the experience of going behind a McDonald's. Because when I was like 16, one time I was just like hanging out behind a McDonald's and I realized that I was in this weird parking lot that is in the middle of town, like where I always am, but I just never like stopped and looked at it and thought about it. And I did, and I was like, this is super interesting that like this spot exists and no one thinks about it, and it's just here.
What's really cool is that me and Nikki, me and Cole are the only people in this town who don't have a car. Fucking people at the checkout ladies are starting to comment on the fact that we walk around everywhere. See, my mentality was, well, we're within walking distance of like 2 different grocery stores and 2 different restaurants, so and a general department store, so we're basically fine. We don't need a car. But then, as you notice the distinct lack of anyone else on the sidewalk, it's like, oh right, everyone else either has friends or has to drive to their job. Yeah. Right. So we're like the only fucking people who are like walking around with fucking grocery bags, right? So we're being urbanites in a suburban town. The point is, we've gotten a really close-up look at every single like fragment of dilapidated concrete, right? And like,
and it's
like,
all cool, right?
Yeah. Like, so like there's like.
I just don't understand people's priorities. Sorry for cutting you off, but I don't understand the priority of like, oh, the Leaning Tower of Pizza, we got to see that. And I'm like, why is that building more interesting than this building down the block?
One interesting thing we do is that
because it's leaning and it's not
sometimes
over.
Okay, one path we can take to get to a certain coffee shop is we
I've seen a lot of leaning buildings that weren't famous. They were just concerning, and people lived in those ones, so they're way more exciting.
So like
they're about to topple over, but they never do.
Maybe because it's also big.
Yeah, but like
pretty big.
I've seen some big buildings.
One cool path that we have is we go out to McDonald's, out the back door, and there's a little parking lot there. But then you sort of go to the left, and then you cut through the drive-through lane. You get on a little platform of concrete, and you jump into this little space between 2 bushes, and now you're in the drive-through area of a bank. And so you just sort of keep sneaking on through, assuming it's a slow day, no one's there to like gawk at you, and then boom, you've like taken a weird shortcut like through 2 different establishments, right? Pretty cool. If not for the fact that being mugged was a possibility and a health risk, I would just go out in the middle of the night fucking behind strip malls all the time. Like me, you, Nino, and Econ did that one time in Atlanta.
We did that because that's something I do. I tend to, if I'm near a big building, I always want to see the back of it.
And that time I felt safe, because as we said at the time, we have 2 white people, 1 black guy, and 1 Asian guy. So I think we're pretty much safe from any discrimination. No one will know what to do with us.
You've got all the classes. You've got all the classes that you can possibly have.
Properly structured like RPG party,
Random interjection quickly. I want to say one of my favorite things I never get to do is take walks during the nighttime, especially here where I'm in Lithuania. It's just so quiet and empty, and I love it. But I'm scared of walking alone.
There's a reason why your fucking story inspired highly background-oriented fan art, because that's the real mythology that fucking Bethesda makes $1 million from a day.
But by the way, I want to give you a red pill real quick, if you'll have me, brainwashed sheep. The Leaning Tower of Pisa, I don't know if you know this, it's not just a tower, it's a bell tower. You know what it's a bell tower for? This right next to it, immediately way more interesting, detailed, and beautiful building than I'm saying to you right now. This is right next to the entire piece, and no one gives a shit about it, even though it looks really fucking pretty. Why does no one care about that?
It's not leaning.
Everybody has to do the picture. They have to do the thing where, like,
yeah, you can see him in this.
I've seen so many pictures of people doing, like in large groups, like all over that bit of grass, doing the, oh, I'm pushing it over, oh, I'm leaning on the leaning tower, please take a picture of me.
Oh, I
Very
laugh
funny.
every time.
Dude, okay, one more thing about, like, random details that are everywhere in this fucking world, and I think I may have actually talked about this in a previous episode, I don't know.
Wait, Davoo, before you say this, I just want to say, we should start up a meme where we all just go and take pictures of us doing the leaning tower thing next to random fucking buildings and just, like, flood the internet with it.
Doss all of our locations.
Dude, my friend Kyle, a notorious furry, who I've talked about multiple times on this show, he does that. He went to Lincoln Monument and did that, and he wasn't even
Did he do the famous pose of freeing the slaves at the Lincoln Monument?
Of
I remember
shooting
that.
people do that.
So it looked like he was just like at Lincoln's foot and pushing at the middle of the wall.
Dude, for some reason that reminded me, one of the things that happened at the fair is that there was a rodeo going on. Probably should have mentioned that. That would really help set the tone for what kind of place it was. We didn't go to the rodeo. None of us wanted to go. We didn't even see it. It was way off in the stadium. But you get one of those women singing the fucking national anthem and one of those renditions of it where you add 3 times as many notes as are actually in the composition.
Yes.
And of the free and so they make it like 8 fucking minutes. Anyway, I sort of snickered at that. I was like, I just like politely, I just like gently like mutter to Colvin like, oh man, one of those versions where they add in like way more fucking notes, right? And she's like, she doesn't want to like offend all the fucking conservafags hanging out there, right? When it's like, I'm not like shouting, I'm just minding my own business, right? What's really funny is that even though we're way far away from the stadium, you can only just hear it in the distance. All the fucking conservafags are like, I guess we're supposed to stand right here and hold our hand to our hearts because it's within earshot, right? So they're all standing and they're all facing towards the fucking stadium. Like, yeah, this is just how it works. I guess.
It's like Mecca.
Yeah. And I'm just like, oh, whatever. I wanted to back away from this area, so I just start walking away, like, the opposite direction. Right.
Intimidate. You have to. I gotta back away here.
She's not putting her fucking hand to her heart, but she's like standing still because she feels like, well, she doesn't want to like stand out too much. Even though there's like, it's like 4 different people here. Like I'm up against the side. I'm not like walking right through them, like pushing them aside. I'm just like walking over to the side, and she's like all upset at me. She's like, no, don't draw attention to yourself. I'm like, freaking out about it. It's drawing more attention. Just fuck. Let me fucking not respect America in peace. God damn it. So, anyway. Okay, so the last thing about dilapidation, right? So there was this park that I used to live near. And it had a river. This is like a real small park. Probably only an average of 15 people go here a day. It's not very big. But if you go out into like the distance, you kind of go off the beaten path a bit. There's like a river, a small little stream. And on this stream, there is one part where there used to be some sort of concrete sidewalk bridge to get you from one side to the other. This sidewalk has now crumbled apart. It's now in several pieces. And the pieces are just sort of sitting there at various slightly tilted angles as the water rushes like beside them and on top of them. And it is the most aesthetic thing ever. There was one piece of concrete in particular that you can just sit down and lean against, and you're sort of leaning at this 15-degree angle, and it's just big enough for you to sort of just sit there and be perfectly dry as a stream surrounds and engulfs you, and then you can whip out a book and be literally the greatest intellectual in America. And it's like, this was free. This was not planned. This is emergent gameplay, and it is vastly better.
Something that's always a huge pleasant surprise. Wait, am I still there?
Yeah.
Okay, there. Sorry. The way everyone just went quiet at once and I wasn't ready for it.
Oh, yeah.
Like, sometimes you walk into a KFC and they'll just have, like, a bench with a fucking Colonel Sanders statue with his arm going across it.
And that is just as important as Rome.
every time I see one of those, I'm just like, how are there not like 70 people lined up to sit on this bench? Because this is the most exciting thing I've ever seen.
It's redefining the meaning of the word seduction every time I see one.
I mean, there's lots of just crazy, interesting, weird shit that's just around cities that because it doesn't have the longevity or the history behind it isn't paid attention to. But like when we used to go to Baltimore for BronyCon and Otakon, like that the whole strip. There's like a sort of touristy road that's just like the one road of Baltimore that's nice before it becomes a total shit fuck.
You can walk down from the convention to this little like harbor area. You can walk down there and you turn like left and immediately you are raped.
Yes.
It's like a TSA line, but instead of like government officials, it's black people.
Do you remember that black guy who came up to us?
The guy asking for money.
I can remember like 70 black guys who come up to me in Baltimore.
Are you talking about the one who was like upset that someone called him the N-word? Is that what you're referring to? Yeah.
And then we all stood in a group around him, and I think I filmed some of it.
Remember that time where I met up with you guys before we were friends, and then we parted ways after like 10 minutes, and Ben was like, well, we should like drop him off at his hotel, guys, and you guys were like, okay, and then I got it, and I forgot to make a wrong turn, so I had to do a U-turn, and everyone was like, Munchie, get out of the car.
Yeah,
I remember that.
Did you? I really like when you brought up the Colonel Sanders thing. I don't think they have those around where I've seen KFCs for a while.
They're not common, but I've seen
probably
a couple.
Fucking germ magnets, and considering it's KFC, they're probably grease magnets. But like,
yeah,
think about
true.
this.
Well, hold on, let me finish about Baltimore. That like right by the convention center, there's this area where there's like this very bizarre structure that's just got like a couple waterfalls and a bunch of just like walkways.
Yeah,
and
I know exactly
because it's not quite on the sidewalk, and so it's just like no one even looks at it. Like it's a cool ass thing that you're meant to walk through, and like because I found out about it, I told all you guys about it, and we checked it out. But like. You go there and you'll just see like hundreds of con goers passing by and like no one's even checking this thing out. And I'm like, this thing is super cool and interesting. It's right here in the path.
There's footage of that thing in T-Bap Takes BronyCon.
Yeah.
As I recall. Yeah.
I do think that video games, that Dark Souls and other video games, as the medium is now called, is it teaching people to do this, or at least it's giving us the opportunity to learn. It was in fact Fallout 3. Playing that at 14, it made me realize, oh yeah, dilapidated concrete actually looks just as cool as like a painting on average, all things being equal, right? Every time
that's wrong, but okay.
To go back to McDonald's being like our culture, and we fret so much about Rome, right? And every single painting that's been burned, every single McDonald's place, all unique in the eyes of the Lord, that gets demolished for health and safety reasons, is the fucking rape of our culture. It is a destruction of the memories of what the sort of Gen X to millennial transition represented, and they're largely gone now, and that is a travesty. Did I ever tell you people, speaking of weird restaurants, of this one catfish restaurant that had an Obama room?
What? That sounds good.
Yeah,
is there like
Happy
a catfish
birthday, by the way,
restaurant
Barack Obama. He turned 57 yesterday. Hashtag Obama Day.
So
when you say catfish
by
restaurant,
the time this comes out, I will have just turned 27. So happy birthday to me!
Oh yes,
happy birthday!
It's my birthday.
I'm an old
in a couple of days on Wednesday. Yeah. So okay. So it's a catfish restaurant, family owned, black family. They have a fucking Obama room. So one of the rooms in this building, it's got a bunch of placards of things Obama did, like a photo of him at his like election.
Remember when Obama freed the slaves? I remember that. That was good.
And then like some other placard or I want to say, oh yeah, proof of his birth certificate, but I think I'm just making that up.
They've got the birth certificate room.
And the best part is they have a life-size cardboard cutout of him, like standing in the middle next to like a little tree.
I can relate to that.
So it's
very much relate to that.
So it's just 6'2" Obama there. And so I went up and like my dad took a picture of me like with my hand over his shoulder, and it is to this day the best photo of me with the most sincere smile I've ever had on camera. It was my Facebook profile for years. I'll see if I can find it at some point.
That's just what Obama does. He just inspires us, even in his
he brings
even in
together.
Even in death, Gib, yeah.
All right, I want to dredge up old topics because I didn't get to say my piece about them and I've written them down. Fucking souvenirs, right? The whole we were talking about like souvenirs for getting it for the point of like you buy something because you think you're supposed to have a souvenir of a thing. And a lot of the time, I mean, my mum does do that sometimes. She went to Barcelona or some other place with some of her girlfriends or whatever. She asked me, do you want anything from there? And I'm like, I don't know anything about Barcelona. I don't know what you can even get there. Bring me a pirate sword, please.
Bring me the people's election declaring independence from Spain that was overturned by the federal government. Yeah, bring me that, Mom.
Bring me the original document of that.
Bring me back something from the point of Gibraltar. Oh, wait.
Wait, what happened there?
It's not Spanish, it's British.
Oh,
yeah,
right.
we stole it. It's English forever. Anyway, yeah, she does that. And, you know, I don't really care, but, you know, sometimes she does come back with something nice, because she's got, like, she's got an eye for trinkets. But my dad likes souvenirs, mostly, I mean, both of them do, mostly just to be house decorations. Like, they don't buy things as souvenirs to, like, say, oh, look, we got a keychain and a fridge magnet from this place. No, they go into the tiny little shops that are off the beaten path. And you know, my dad likes quiet places and those tiny streets, you know, away from the main, like, big, like, hey, look at all this stuff. We all, as like a family, agree that it's much nicer to snake away to, like, a smaller alleyway where there's less people and more locals. And if you see enough locals at a bar, you're like, okay, that's a good place. So we go there, and we go to the markets there, and we get, like, souvenirs that just are good, just like are like artistic, good nice things, little decorations for the house, because they have a house.
/anime, you know.
They are /anime, and they are like because they have a house. They are homeowners. They have a reason to buy things like that. I don't. I would, but right. Now this is coming into another point I had, which I was really interested in the way Davu was talking about. Like, people go to all these places and there's no reason to do it. They don't have a purpose in life.
Yeah.
I want to take that opportunity to take that info, that idea, that point, and turn this podcast back into a Pokemon Go.
No!
Because I've had this idea.
Yes,
Pokemon Go podcast.
I got a ton of Mr. Mime in Italy, and I'm gonna give it to you before Hippo can give it to you, so I can get the
hell yeah.
I've got authentic French Mr. Mime. I've got a couple of those.
Mr. Mime.
Alright. Pokemon Go is the way to have a souvenir.
Sure.
Well, it's a way to have a souvenir for, like, a gamer that you know, doesn't need things from actual real places.
Gamer
you can
with
take
a
a picture.
By the way.
Yes.
Gamer.
The only proper way to say it.
And it's like, it's not just going to get a Pokemon from a country, because, you know, there's, like, the region exclusive. There's a few of those. And yeah, this is the thing. I had this idea. The gym badges, they've like, I don't know when they implemented them, but there's this map that you can look that has a map of the world, like, really low resolution, but, like, you can see every gym you've, like, been to.
Wait,
on the
how
map.
do I find that? Is that in the app?
Yeah.
You go to you click on yourself. You go to your you scroll down to see all your like medals and stuff, and then there's your gyms, and you go to the list of gyms, and then there's, like, a thing on the bottom left, and that's the map of the world and all the gyms you've been to. And I have, like, there's a site called Pokemon Go Map or something that just lists every Pokestop and every gym in the world. You go, it's like, uses Google Maps, and you just go scroll around, you find where everything is. And I had this idea.
There it is. I just found it. That's fucking sick.
I really want to, like, conquer the world and be, like, the ideal well-traveled man. But because of Pokemon Go, because I wouldn't actually go for any other reason. So I want to max out, like, my gym badges. I want to have every gym badge in the world, which will take, like, a long time. Yes, but, like, it's just actually a reason for me to go to a real place,
Hippo,
other than to say, "Oh, I've seen the Leaning Tower of Pisa." No, I've seen all the gym, the poker gyms in that city. Actually,
you saying this whole thing, all I can think is, dude, if you go to Italy and use your Eevee with authentic pizza, it revolves into a Sicilian.
Very nice.
Yeah.
By the way, I can tell you right now, I didn't give a fuck about taking pictures of the Leaning Tower of Pisa. But you know what I did care about? Yeah, that's right. I was getting the gym badge Leaning Tower of Pisa. Check out this shit, motherfucker!
Oh, he did it.
It's green in this picture for some reason. That's way cooler than seeing it in real life.
Oh yeah, and it's in Italian.
Yeah.
It's in Italian. That's authentic.
Oh,
you know what?
paesano.
And you know why? Because it was something that took some marginal amount of effort beyond the strength required to lift your phone and hit picture photo button, right? There was actually one like Hallmark level idea of a thing you're supposed to do to be a real person that I think is pretty genuine. It's a very specific one. It's climbing up a fucking hill or a mountain and then being up it and then looking out at the sky, right? That is a real thing. If you climb up a thing, you actually did something.
If someone took a picture of them having just climbed the Leaning Tower of Pizza, I would be far more impressed.
Why do you keep calling it pizza?
Is it not the Leaning Tower of Pizza?
It's Pisa, with an S.
Pisa.
Pizza.
Are you shitting me right now?
No, pizza.
Wasn't this a joke in wasn't there like a whole cartoon about this?
Probably. It feels like a Dexter's Lab episode.
The Leaning Tower of a Spaghetti.
I just want to make sure we're all clear, by the way. Going back to what we were saying before about souvenirs, I don't want to imply at all by my railing against and agreeing with everyone else that I am against the idea of souvenirs. I in fact love mementos, and I love having little trinkets and knickknacks that I can look at and have like a Jim and Neutron brain blast and think about it. But it's just about being earned as opposed to like just gain it for the sake of gaining it. If I have
when it's an obligation,
like actually jogs my memory, and it's something that I have just come across, like that business card or something else like that to that effect, then it's far more impactful, and I feel the memory more so than I would if I were to just buy it. It's not a matter of me not wanting to have it. It's just a matter of me having the experience and memory better from having something like I actually just
when it becomes an obligation, that's when it feels inauthentic. It feels like you remember thinking you had to get something and you forgot what you were doing there, and you forgot the fun times you were having.
You know what
I like doing is when I have like a receipt from a thing, I put it in my pocket. Sometimes I throw it away, but sometimes I keep it. I have a couple from Radcon 1 and 2 and 3, and I keep them in a drawer. And eventually I might like make a scrapbook of like all these receipts and like airplane tickets and stuff and concert things, and be like, oh yeah, I went to that at that date. Like, is all the information I need. Yeah. And I'll be like, oh yeah.
You know what I have?
I hold on to plane tickets for that reason.
My turn, damn it! I haven't got to talk. Here's what I have to say. Small point. When I went to Hawaii, I had no plans to buy anyone anything, as I never do. But then Michelle was like, hey, why don't you buy your family gifts? And I'm like, bitch, what the fuck did you just say to me? And then I was like, that seems like a reasonable idea. So I did. And I have not yet to send them. I'm glad Ben's not here. He's not getting spoiled. But I got to send those bad boys out. Oh, and while I was there, the most important thing of all is I bought myself a hoodie from the Polynesian Culture Center that says it on the thing. It is the most comfortable hoodie of all time. That Polynesian Culture Center is run by the Mormons. And there's your fact of the day. Mormons make good hoodies.
Money back into the Dr. Wolf community.
Going back hard, making a hard left turn. That's right.
I want to quickly say it's not very like super related, but I've been trying to say this, but I haven't found a place to interject necessarily. Like you all talking about like urban stuff and towns and cities and whatnot, but my personal favorite place to go like vacation, if I ever do, I never do, but if I were to go, it would be like a forest, and probably like a picnic in a forest or a field. And something I really want to do before I leave this planet is like go stargazing, like at night,
Or in a forest.
in a forest or so, like somewhere where there's no any buildings and no pollution in the air, so you can see the stars bright. Because I keep seeing all these pictures of so many stars in the sky, and then I look up at the sky at night and was like, where the hell are they?
Dude.
I want to see them.
Yeah, you got city lights.
Yeah.
I don't know where you live in Lithuania, but I'm certain that there are places nearby that like you could get to relatively easily. I guess if you had a car.
I don't have
like
a car.
countryside.
But the thing is, I'm alone, and I'm scared to go
Dude,
alone.
get an electric skateboard and Casey Neistat out there. Hell yeah, dude. That's the way. That's
I
a
don't
millennial
mind.
way.
I don't mind the idea of being alone and doing something like that. I was on like again Pokemon Go, like haha. But like I was looking on Pokemon Go map and I was looking at Pokestops in London and following the River Thames out towards the sea. And then I was like curious, like what does it look like when you walk there? How when is the threshold of like, because if you look at a map of England and you see the Thames go out to the ocean, it very slowly funnels out into the sea, but there's a lot of land left and right for a very long time. So I'm like, what would it look like to go there? So I did the little Google Maps thing. You drop the guy down, you walk along, move along on the path. And I was just like, what if I just walked all the way from London down the river until I found us town, and then I got a bus or something.
Could be a while. Could be a long walk.
It could be like a day or two, or like or something. But like it would just, I just like the idea of doing like walking in one direction for a very long time and dying, but without the dying part,
Well, hopefully.
Yeah, I'm too big of a weenie to go alone. I would like to go with someone, but my boyfriend is
it's.
also
I mean,
a weenie, so.
going out at night and stuff is scary sometimes, but like, I don't know. You got a torch. You just gotta be strong.
I mean, what the hell is there to be
There was
afraid
one
of?
time, like I was in the countryside. I was in the countryside, and it was dark. And it was like the kind of countryside where you could see the stars a lot. And I didn't bring a torch, and I went for a walk outside. And I heard a horse in a nearby field, and I thought the gate was open, and it was going to kill me, and I couldn't see anything. And I peed my pants and ran home. But like, yeah, it is scary to go into places alone, I guess. But it's doable.
You know what I also like about nighttime and walking around in nighttime? The air just smells different at night, and I really like that sort of nighttime smell of the air.
Nighttime is the superior time. Nighttime is absolutely 110% better than the day. You can't convince me otherwise. It's perfect.
I'm a day boy, and you night
God.
fags need to check your shitty... You think you're so special?
No.
I'm a night owl.
No.
I
It's not
like
about being
nighttime.
special. It's just
Get
about
the fuck out of here.
admitting-
Get a 9 to
No.
5, you sacks of shit,
get-
and get on my level.
It is about being special, because I'm special needs, and I need that moonlight.
I need that isolation. I can't deal with all you fucking extroverted fucks with your jobs and your confidence and your money and your success trajectory.
Yeah.
I can't deal with that.
The absolute best thing is when it's been like a really hot day, like it has been recently, and like the ground is like fucking scorching hot. It's been boiled by the sun. So like when nighttime comes around and it starts to cool off, there's like a lot of wind breezing around, like the temperature is changing rapidly and things are like swooshing around. You just walk and it's a warm, cool breeze. It's just the perfect. You can go outside in shorts in the middle of the night.
I gotta say, being up during the day for the last month has been a huge problem. Because, like, we got onto a great lifestyle regiment here at the Gecko Estate, where we've been waking up and every other day going straight to the gym right after waking up. And
it's the blessed dime.
It's a great way to do things because we both have like problems with insomnia, and this cures that. Because if you just start the day like hitting the ground running and you work all day, you're fucking exhausted by nighttime. The problem is that when we started this, we were waking up at like 6 in the morning. And neither of us wants to be up, like, neither of us likes the day. Because first of all, it's the middle of summer and it's a fucking 90 degrees out every day and it's super fucking humid. So it's too hot, and when you wake up that early, nothing's even open that early, like, except for the gym. So it's like, you know, you go to the gym and then you're like, all right, let's go get some food. Oh, nowhere's open yet, you know? And just generally, yeah, going out at night is way nicer because you can just walk and it's nice and cool, and you don't even care if you have to walk like an extra mile to get somewhere open because it's nice to walk a mile at night. But during the day, you're like, let's go to the closest fucking place so I'm not sweating, 10 pounds by the time
I haven't really been having to deal with this fucking whole temperature thing ever since I moved to a desert where there is no fucking humidity. I know I've talked about this with all of you. Have I talked about it in an episode yet?
I think you might have.
Okay, well, fucking humidity. It's where all the actual discomfort from heat comes from. Live in a place where it's not. It's like, 98 degrees, don't feel like shit.
Yeah, today's like the first day that it's been hot and not that humid, and it was pretty okay. But
Italy
like
was
for
so
the most
fucking
part,
humid all the time.
it's been
It was a
shit.
nightmare. Especially in Venice. Venice
yeah,
was a fucking. Oh my god, the weather in Venice was terrible.
I mean, that makes sense because it's a fucking waterlogged city.
I've literally not yet, this whole time I've been living here, had a single day where I walk out and I'm like, I don't want to go out. It hasn't been yet, and I just bared the entire brunt of July, so I think it's pretty cool.
I've been suffering for the last month. I guess now I know why, because of the because like the first month when I got here, like what's after May? The month
June.
Yeah, June.
June's
there we
after
go.
May.
Yeah, sorry, I was thinking Lithuanian for a moment. Okay, so yeah, June was fine, and then like I guess the humidity hit, and like I've been suffering, and if it wasn't for this little fan I have in my room right now, I'd be suffocating right now, and it's just like I couldn't even sleep for a few days until I realized I have the fan, and it was like terrible, awful, and like for the last few days I haven't even turned on my PC because it was just so bad, and the PC added to the heat. I just couldn't do anything.
Jesus.
I think I'm quite a tough little cookie because we don't have AC in this house, and it is humid and it is like really hot, and it's just not a thing
It's not as hot
you
as
do.
San Diego or anything in London.
No. It's like some sort of degrees. You can look it up. After,
Yeah.
But like it's humid and it's like heat wavy, and it's like you don't want to be on a train with a crowded people. You don't want.
Google
you don't
says
want to do
London's
that.
79 degrees right now. Yeesh.
So, that's pretty warm. That's pretty warm.
Yeah. So, but like I'm right now. I'm in my room. I closed the window obviously because to stop sound coming in, and it's sweltering in here. It's getting a bit like sweaty. I'm sweating up a storm, but I feel okay because I'm used to this. Because I don't complain a lot. A lot of times, pain happens to me, and I'm like, okay, all right, I'll do it. I'll settle for this.
That's kind of how I feel. I'm not one to
and later I'll be like I'll be like I'm stronger for having dealt with it instead of doing anything about it, which is stupid, really.
The warmth, and I prefer heat over coldness. Like if I had to choose between this weather and freezing cold, I would choose this weather any time of the day. But
sure, I mean, I would do the same. My car does not have AC, and just yesterday I got the oil change and attempted to get them to like repair the AC stuff. They said it could not be done without like major, like it was a thing of like they'd refill the antifreeze or whatever. They can't do it. It requires like a serious upgrade. My car is very old. So I'm just not going to do it, and that's fine. But I've been able to drive for years now with this car with no AC, and that's been fine. And so like in that way, yes, I'm over caring about being comfortable while driving, and I just roll the windows down, whatever. But in my house, so I just moved, and my new place has central air, and it is incredible. It is unbelievable.
Yeah.
It is a huge, massive life upgrade. It's also like sunnier. It's just such a quality of life improvement and all these new rooms and stuff.
It's
the best.
The 8 months I spent living in Digi's house was the only 8 months since childhood I had adequate central air conditioning for both heat and cold.
I'm just over here like so suddenly fuming with rage thinking about the fact that like all of the best built cities are in places with shit weather, and the only place in the whole world that I've ever heard of having consistently good weather is the west coast of the United States.
That's not
true. I mean,
Hawaii's quite nice, but
Hawaii as well, and like certain places like near the equator, I guess. But like the west coast, like LA, is like known for its good weather. And I'm just sitting here wondering, like, why is it that LA has to be the shittiest fucking city imaginable?
I believe
Well,
I've heard some people theorize
it's such nice weather. Everyone went there.
Right. Well, yeah. I think I've heard some theories talk about how the lack of bad weather means that like the human innovation and hard work gumption gene like deactivates, and then everyone becomes shitty because it's so easy to live
That's
there.
what Hawaii is 100% like that. Everyone's just like, hey man, it's the island time. Relax, man. We're also Jamaica. Don't worry about it.
I don't know who's fucking deceived.
They don't care about anything so much. They don't even care that they also just are Jamaica and Hawaii. That's how little they care.
What'd you say, Munchie?
As a local who goes to LA very regularly and has been to LA very recently in Anime Expo, I can guarantee you that the weather there is fucking terrible, and it's absolutely abysmal.
That's like what they're known for is having good weather.
I've never heard that before in my
Yeah.
life. It's always
all right,
so hot.
define
and
good.
so
It might be a little more
humid.
normal.
As a local,
when I
you're
was
biased
in
to know
Anime
what
Expo, it was 117
It was,
unironically.
it was way too hot. Like
Are
when
we
we
sure
were
we're not
at
thinking
Anime
about, like,
Expo, it
San
was
Francisco?
insanely hot.
Yeah.
All
But it
right,
wasn't that
define
humid.
good. Define good weather, because when something is like rather hot, I don't like it. I prefer cloudy weather. I prefer,
Yes.
a
Well,
potential
what is supposed
rain.
to be good weather
potential
is
sun.
no humidity and 70 to 75 degrees. Like
Yeah.
like the literal ideal for humans. Like nice breeze rolling in, clear blue skies. It's about 70 or so
I hate
degrees,
clear
and there's
blue
no humidity.
skies.
Like
Bad.
that is
Ooh, I'm
meant to
moody.
be.
Ooh, I'm grumpy. I
No,
have
no,
feelings
Just
right.
about
night
things.
owls.
Here's no. Clear blue skies are nice, but they to me, as an Englishman, they feel like a holiday thing. When I see a clear blue sky, I'm like, I don't need to work.
It's really
I
funny
don't
you
need to
say
do
that.
anything.
Like when I was watching Doctor Who, I like every time they'd show London, I was just like, God, that is the most depressing city in the fucking
It's
world.
right. I agree. Sometimes, like, overcast skies can feel depressing, and a lot of Americans who come to England, they see all the clouds, and they're like, "Oh, fuck!" But like, there's so much. It's hard to explain. I think it's like you think of like the sky as like a canvas. It's like a clear canvas. It's blue. It's nice. Clouds are like the painting stuff. Like you see like old paintings of clouds, and they're always like puffy and cool, and the light's bouncing off them in interesting ways. And then I look up sometimes, and I'm like, "That's a painting." I'm looking at the most beautiful thing I've ever seen.
Clouds,
and the only
clouds
reason
be
I can
cool
see
as
that is
shit.
because clouds are there to like to make interesting
I mean,
shapes. And I'm
Victor's
like, I would
Victor's
always prefer
Instagram is
clouds
like
over clear blue.
75% pictures of cool looking clouds, so I do understand that. But I'm telling you, I think you're a little bit of what's it called when
Racist.
someone kidnaps you and
Idiot.
you like it?
Stockholm syndrome.
Yeah, Stockholm syndrome.
yeah.
Like, because it seems as though
I don't believe
the
that
grading-
can even happen. I'm just used to it.
But-
It's not it's not that I like bad weather. I just don't think it is bad weather when
That's what
when the sky is
Stockholm
completely
syndrome is.
white.
When you
No. But you just have a different definition of bad weather. I live in this
That's what I'm saying. Hippo,
climate,
what I'm trying
and
to
I'm
say
so
is that
used
as
to
a
it
human
that
being, there is a type of climate that should be like that should be just optimal for everybody.
Don't we
like,
all
if,
have
if you
Stockholm
have
syndrome?
Not
then?
quite. No, I mean, the reason why, for example, white people are white is because they existed in Europe where there was more
Yeah.
cloud cover, so they didn't
White
need
people
the kind
are
of
a mistake,
pigmentation.
okay? Like, well, our
enough.
whiteness is Stockholm syndrome via evolution, like, or evolution via Stockholm syndrome.
Just
It's like
adjusting to the environment, but fair enough.
we went okay.
But white people made the Leaning Tower of Pizza, you motherfucker.
Yeah, that shit.
And they
leans
fucked that
like
one up, now
fuck.
didn't they? It's fucking leaning.
If that, if
I don't
that's
see any
not-
straight
Domino's
towers of
anywhere.
Africa.
Leaning Tower of Pizza right
What?
now.
Is it me, or is the Leaning Tower of Pizza like us just literally just a big celebration of failure? Like,
I mean,
why do
maybe.
we
I mean, look at the
celebrate?
pyramids.
I think it's just very funny.
Those Egyptian Kangs, those pyramids are not deviating 1 millimeter. They are dead center, straight
All right.
up. Except the
I
Sphinx
need
did
to
lose
I
its
need to
nose.
say
Fuck
my piece
you.
about like the
Don't
weather.
talk about the pyramids. We didn't make them. That's all aliens. I refuse to believe otherwise.
And I saw Prometheus.
right.
The aliens are super white. They're like the whitest
Yeah,
possible
the
guys.
ultimate,
you know?
the ultimate Ubermensch is fucking a bone
The
white
ultimate
alien.
Uber driver, the aliens, the Greys. Their
They can
playlist
drive
is
for
dope.
thousands of
I
light
swear.
years.
Munchie, what is the big disc called that's supposed to make the pyramid turn into the spaceship?
Oh, it's just the love battleship. It's just the love battleship. It's,
The
it's,
love
it's,
battleship.
It's 3
That's what
atoms
it
thick.
All right, fucking I have to say my piece because you kept like I don't. Right, cloudy weather is not always like good, obviously. I'm not saying that I like it when it's fucking wet and cold and miserable. I'm saying that clouds are good, and when the sky is like completely white, it sort of feels like a blanket, and I like it because there's no harsh rays, there's no burning, but it's not cold either. It's just sort of.
I agree.
It's peaceful. You can just sort of.
Is good.
You can just sort of live and it's just nice.
I hate cloudy weather.
I don't think it's Stockholm syndrome. That's all I'm saying. I don't like rain either.
Okay, the reason I was calling it that, and it's not about you specifically, but I was gonna breach that out to the English attitude in general. Like, the way that Englishmen sort of...
Major cucks.
The way that Englishmen sort of portray themselves and the way that they're perceived stereotypically is something that seems like people from a place where it's overcast all the time.
Oh, right. That explains the classic English phrase, shikata ganai, which translated to American is, it can't be helped.
Well, I mean, granted, a lot of my English stereotypes come from Yahtzee and how he portrays England and himself and the cloudy weather as all kind of it's a maelstrom of this attitude.
I love England. I think it's great.
Yeah, Stockholm syndrome.
I mean, Yahtzee's the guy who left England.
I don't get
ago.
what you're.
Oh yeah, I was gonna.
You haven't fucking
I'm
been.
saying that the human
I've been to
race,
America.
Here's what I'm trying to say. Is that when we left Africa and expanded outwards, we had to play a lot of mental gymnastics. We had to play a lot of mental gymnastics as we went around the world to try to convince ourselves that it was okay to live in shitty places. Like America, we came here and almost everyone died instantly. Like the diseases were so fucked. The land was just not good for living on in the way we wanted to, and so basically everyone died.
Are you trying to say that the United States is not full of bountiful, fertile land? Is that what you're trying to say to me right now?
I think what Digi's trying to say is that he wishes he was black.
Well, that's been evident since
some scientists are starting to doubt.
But specifically an African tribesman and have never left Africa, and everyone who isn't African has Stockholm syndrome.
Since everyone's talking about since everyone's talking about fucking going on vacations to famous places, we went to the most hilarious tourist attraction in the world recently because we live in Boston, which is near Plymouth Rock. Have any of you been to Plymouth Rock? No. Nate, you've been there?
Sure have.
It's fucking hilarious, isn't it? Because
there's nothing there.
It's just a rock, first of all, it's just a rock. It's just like a regular-sized boulder with a big stamp on it that says like 1687 or whatever. But the funniest part is that the plaques and stuff next to it all say that it is supposedly the rock that the Pilgrims landed at. So no one even knows what the fuck it is, and there's all these stupid souvenir shops nearby, and it's very transparently corny and dumb.
Since it's out in the elements, wouldn't it have been decayed by now?
No, they've got it up on on a platform. Rocks. Like it's elevated above the water. Like they've got it.
Like it would still be rained on and winded on. And
it's
only been like 400 years. That's not that long.
There's like a gazebo over it. It's like
I'm looking at pictures, and it still seems like it would be still too exposed to not be corroded eventually. But okay.
Well, they've got it under a gazebo and like on a lifted platform, and like there's a guy there who every 15 minutes gives like a little speech about the rock, and he talks about how apparently it once was like a huge tourist attraction, and like presidential candidates would like take pictures of themselves next to the rock and shit, and like. Yeah, but like it actually has, because of the fact that it is so lame, it has totally lost that reputation, and now nobody cares about it anymore.
That's a tiny baby rock. I thought this was like a massive monument.
It's literally
look at this
just giant... a regular ass rock that has a fucking number on it. But the guy was telling us a story about how like when they got there that first winter, they dwindled down to like 10 women were left alive. So, like, they had to repopulate everything from, like, 10 women that they had. Maybe it was less than that. It was something like 8 to 10 women that were still alive. Like, they came to America and everyone fucking died instantly, and they, like, barely hung on.
Like, half of them died. I mean,
this is an unironically problematic worldview that you're disposing right now. I feel unironically triggered. It's not...
well, here's the thing.
Came here way before that...
Virginia was colonized long before the Pilgrims got here.
Okay. It was colonized, or was it just people lived here?
Well, those are kind of the same thing, but I mean, they had set up, camps and villages in Virginia, which was the first, Massachusetts is not, like,
Believe
Virginia
me, I know this, Nate. I'm from
one.
Virginia. I had to learn Virginia history 8 different times.
But those people did not all die. I mean, I'm sure some of them did.
I mean, they came over on a land bridge from fucking from Russia back when it was connected, way back in ancient times. They adapted to live here over time, and they slowly expanded because the only reason we expanded across the earth was either because there were too many people for the amount of resources or ideological differences. Like the reason we came to America, like the Pilgrims, or the ones who came to Plymouth, they were running from religious persecution. Like they were okay with putting up with living in a shit place that they were not meant to live because it meant that they got to have a different type of lifestyle, and they were just brave enough to fucking deal with the amount of death that was going on.
I just have an issue with like the idea that I'm like the people who live here have Stockholm syndrome when we have lived here for so long that we have acclimatized to this thing, and every time I go to a hot country I am sick and I feel terrible all the time.
Adaptation's just evolutionary Stockholm syndrome.
That's what I'm trying to say. That's literally what I'm trying to say.
Okay, it just the Stockholm syndrome has a very like persecutey connotation. Like you have a fucking mental disability.
I don't think of it that way.
I don't think you can get a Stockholm syndrome by just being home. Like, are you being... That's so silly. That's a silly thing,
I mean, Digi's making a larger point.
Okay,
I mean, he's just trashing England
first of all,
in general.
let's define Stockholm syndrome is just when you convince yourself that something is good so that you can deal with it.
No, it's like when you're being held against your will in a thing, let's say a situation, against your will, but then like to make it okay in your head...
To be born on Earth is to be in a situation that was against your will. Nobody decided to be born.
There's a choice, that's but I wish I'll not
transmogrifying the goalposts.
You can't choose to just be born.
No, there's a choice to leave.
Where you want to live in the world.
So
Digi, why would you
that is a very high cost to like move countries.
I moved.
You have to understand that you grow up in the culture you're born into, and you will immediately develop a deep Stockholm syndrome for the entire culture you live in. Like people are constantly reinforcing the values of the system you were born into.
Digi, I've been really
I think the only problem I have with what you're saying is that there's this implication that the grass quantifiably, like absolutely is always greener, and you will never actually have like any good, like you will never live in a good place ever. It's only Stockholm syndrome the reason that you like the place.
I gotta say, between
and there always should be a better place
about,
for you.
The optimal,
which I kind of agree with. It's just a weird way of saying
I know it's a weird way of saying it. That's what makes it funny, and why I said it as a joke.
Yeah. So okay, let's see. I'm remembering the last month or so of things you've been on about. You've had finding the code of the universe. You have all art's about finding the expression, and now it's the optimal human condition. I feel like you're sort of at step one of becoming a Hitler because you're defining the optimal human experience. I'm trying to become the
anti-Hitler.
And then I'm thinking, what's step two? I thought, step two would be writing a book all about your worldview. Oh shit!
All right, hold on. We have to understand here that I'm not saying Stockholm syndrome's a bad thing or a problem. I have Stockholm syndrome for America. I'm just saying that to be raised in a society is to be programmed. You are not making a conscious decision to be the person you are. You were created to be this person. You were developed to be this person. You learned all this shit from people.
Thing you've ever brought onto the show, as far as I've heard.
Yeah, which is why I agree with it.
Yeah, it's pretty obvious, I think. I think I'm just saying, obvious, normal shit about how psychology works.
But you just said it in an abrasive way that made Gib, not on board immediately.
I mean, I don't... there's no way I can disagree with the idea that the only reason we do anything is because of outside influence, and there is no real self, sort of. But, I just don't see the point of ever bringing that up because it doesn't have any bearing on anything.
The idea I was
what are you supposed to do about
essentially is that, let's say, people came to London and they went, oh, the weather here's kind of shit, but we can build our own city here and it's good enough. And then eventually people adapted to where they're okay with that. But that just means that is it's a new breed of human. This human that's adapted to live in London, and their personalities kind of reflect that. It's like the English attitude is a product of having moved to England, having moved humanity there, and so it's a sort of several generational.
There's way more to it than just where we decided to settle down.
Well, sure,
because there was hundreds of years of war, and people took over England, and
I'm oversimplifying simplifying
things.
this for the sake of explaining why I would use the phrase Stockholm Syndrome. Just simply that, like Tom said earlier, I'm just saying adaptation to an environment is like when human race came to be in the Fertile Crescent, it was because this is a place that would spawn humans. Like, this is a place that, hey, you know, like, this is the natural result of being in this area. And then we went, oh, let's go other places, and those places were shit, but we got used to it.
I don't understand why you think that it's not so inconvenient or shit that it is cloudy a lot. Like, I don't think that's so unnatural.
Saying it's not that it's super unnatural. It's just slightly different.
I don't like that you're mixing people adapting to stuff with Stockholm Syndrome. It's just
why?
I don't know. It doesn't sound right.
It sounds right to me.
It feels like there's a different word that you could be using.
That, I guess sort of makes sense, but you can't.
It's
just
really fucking
funny.
Yeah, I'm surprised it's got
I'm not laughing. I'm fuming.
So
I'm raging.
It's funny,
here's my
especially because I
pitchfork.
use the phrase Stockholm Syndrome all the time. It's just like one of my favorite phrases to accuse things
It's
of
my
being,
favorite
so.
Muse song.
I didn't know that was a Muse song.
I take offense because I'm fat and I hate hot weather and I want to be in England because it's really cold all the time.
It's not cold.
I thought you were about to say I'm fat and I hate hot
time.
women.
No, it's not. It could be rainier, according to my boyfriend, but.
Can we get back to traveling? Traveling's way more fun.
I want to say that I hate cloudy weather because I'm very affected by the weather. For some reason, cloudiness makes me moody.
I will say, I don't
living
think
in England is perfect.
You're an indigo child. Megan's an indigo child. It all makes sense. Indigo and also child. And wait, she's not.
I feel the
indigo.
same way
It's not
Mage
the same
does.
word.
Actually, I get headaches when it rains and when there's a low pressure front.
I do think of cloudiness and raininess
I guess that's
as
just a thing.
Like the atmospheric, climatologic embodiment of depression. And the more depression you have, the more rain matches your mood. And even when you're not depressed, you have depressive moments. You know, moments where things feel low and down. And if that happens to synchronize with some overcast, I think that actually fits pretty nicely. I remember
it just makes sense. It makes sense to me because Pink Floyd told me that living on in quiet desperation was the English way, and that's all I know about them.
But no, I distinctly remember there was actually a day, the very specific day I kicked depression and became marginally functional on that particular axis, which was a day in which it had been overcast, and I was like, yeah, overcast. I always feel better when it's overcast. And then I just sort of had a moment at 2 o'clock where my depression was broken. And then the sun came out, and I'm like, the sun's out. I feel good about this. Wait,
sun's out.
Hold on.
Guns out. Devu said to himself.
I've never been happy that the sun came out before. I'm free. I'm cured.
I don't get it, but cool.
Yeah. Teach me how.
All you gotta do is you gotta go into the clouds. You gotta look at the clouds, right?
Okay.
You gotta see a cloud that looks like a mountain, and you gotta get your hiking gear and you gotta climb that mountain. And then when you get to the top of the clouds, you realize that it's not physical, and you gotta fall and die. And that's what
actually, no. What happened with me was that I listened to I for the 79th time that week the fucking version of "You're Gonna Go Far, Kid" that sped up to sound like Rainbow Dash, and that gave me my moment.
My God!
Forever.
What?
Whoa!
That sounds like an experience.
You're
All
gonna
right,
carry
I gotta go dig up that YouTube
Rainbow
video
Dash.
and put it on repeat for a week.
Hashtag join.
Yeah.
Finally be cured.
And so for the last 6 years now, I've been cured, and I have now only 12 other metaphysical fucking disorders weighing me down.
I can see it now. Devu, how did you cure depression? Rainbow Dash.
Yeah.
All right.
That's a true
I
story for a
Wouldn't
lot
be
of
the
people,
only
Tom.
person. Would not. I was gonna say I know
true story
people
for me.
in
I
my
didn't
life
fucking make
who
that
is
shit
a true
up.
story for.
Amazing. Love
Yep.
it.
Yep.
10 out of 10.
I have a thing to say regarding to weather, but also travel. In that I have also gone on a week-long thing. I won't get into what I was doing. We could save that for another episode because this one. How long is this one going
It's like an
on?
hour and a half.
It got
already.
away from
while.
us.
We'll get into that next time maybe.
Okay.
But it was a camp. And it was rainy, extremely rainy. I got off the coach, I was like, okay, it looks a bit cloudy, it looks like it might rain, I better set up my tent immediately. And as soon as I got, the tent poles out, fucking a torrent of rain, wind almost blew everything away. I just had to lie on my tent to stop it from blowing away. I got drenched, all my clothes got drenched, and I'm like, okay, fucking your favorite. cunt weather, cunt of a weather. And I was like, okay, put it up. I was like, fine. Oh shit, this week's gonna suck. It's so fucking rainy and windy and cold and bad, and I don't like it. And then day 2, less rainy. It was like a mist of rain, constantly falling throughout the day. But it was just sort of like you walk out, and you can't really feel the raindrops unless you hold your hand at your palm up, and it's like, oh yeah, there is rain, but it's just sort of a mist, and that was okay. But it's still cold, and I don't like it. But then the third day, it comes back, like the sunny weather comes back. That was like heat waving London the whole time, and was like, okay, yeah, it's now we've had the rain and we got the sun. The camp feels way better than if it had been sunny the entire time, because the sun was like quite powerful throughout the last few weeks leading up to this, and I was like, if this is going to be like a scorching hot camp, I'm gonna die. There's only so much you can do. You could put the sunscreen on, you maybe have an umbrella with you to block the sun rays, but like, it's just, you're gonna die. But the fact that we had like terrible weather the first couple days, and then like kind of great weather for the rest, it was just sort of everyone's spirit was lifted, and it was just really nice. And I love variety in weather. I love changing weather, and I love England for having fucking wild mood swings in weather variety. It always has like either, we have snow here, we have heat waves here, we have torrents and hurricanes and but like really lovely summers sometimes. It's just like, and sometimes winter is hot. It's like, it doesn't make any sense. But I enjoy the variety that it provides.
That's what Virginia's like as well.
Quick aside right now, by the way, on the very small subject of sunscreen. Did you know, you fucking white pigs, that ethnics are immune to sunburn? I didn't.
I'm aware.
I've heard about that.
I've never even realized that that's a real thing that can happen. It's not just in cartoons. Until someone was like, "Why aren't you putting on sunscreen?" I'm like, "You have to put on sunscreen? Like, that's a real thing. That's not just a joke that people say you have to do. Because you can just walk outside when you're an ethnic like me, and it doesn't even matter. You just don't. It doesn't even. The sun does not affect you whatsoever."
All I have to say about that is case in point.
Lol.
Case in.
I have a. Oh. By the way, Hippo, I want to visit England really bad. We should have like a Jimmy Neutron, like a Jimmy Timmy Power Hour.
All right. If I was thinking this, if there's like ever a London Pokemon Go event. That's a very easy excuse for me to go, and an excuse for you to go to have like a thing.
I want there to be a
we could explore.
specifically event, a Chibi BakaCon.
Oh,
that'd be good.
Yeah, there are anime cons in London.
That would be nice.
I've always wanted the three. Funnily enough, Italy is not one of the European countries that I've really wanted to visit the most. I've wanted to visit Germany, Paris, and England a lot, but I'm really afraid that if I go to England, everyone will aggressively hate me.
Why?
Why?
Okay, because people aggressively hated me in Italy, and I can only imagine it'll be more significant in England because I will be American, and they'll fucking want to jeer at me no matter what I do.
I don't think so.
There is some validity to the idea that English people are cucks. We're just downtrodden and we're dour and we're like everything sucks. No, I'm just saying it's not completely unfounded. I don't mind it because it doesn't really matter. Because we just, you do what you do, and you don't have to be the life of the party. You just dab on the haters, keep calm and dab on the haters. And like seeing a big funny fluffy Mexican man like you coming in and being all like ooh like oof, they're gonna be like they're gonna give you some funny looks, but they're not gonna do anything.
Okay, this is
especially in London. People in London are like the most antisocial people of all time. They're always doing anything but looking at anyone.
When they see me in orange color come into their world of gray colors, they'll be like, "Oh, who's this?" And then it'll be like a Disney movie, and it'll have good color design.
Yeah. You'll touch the River Thames and it'll turn into sand. It'll be like Rowdy Fuckers Cop Killers.
Blue, and I'll be bringing the color back to England, and I'll have to touch everyone.
Oh, so that Fern Gully movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Where the dude with the green thumb makes everything green.
It's actually a perfect segue into something, a big speech I want to say. So give me the room. Get off the stage. I'm pushing you off the stage right now, Hippo. You're in a wheelchair, and I've jumped you out. You're now fucking gonna be there.
Oh no, I've fallen, and I'm okay with it.
I get such immense satisfaction from coming off as as the one tourist who cares. Whenever I have the opportunity to like speak Italian, that like broken Italian that I've rehearsed from Google Translate, or to like frequently peacock my cursory understanding of Italian history to my tour guides, I feel like it's something akin to like the God orgasm, like LSD, like 12 pounds of DMX or something like that. Like people. Okay. People say you should learn history because, like, those who don't learn from history are doomed to repeat it, or a lot of reasons like that.
Yeah,
That's pussy shit.
yeah.
That's shit that doesn't even matter. It's not even true. Here's why I think you should learn about history. When you're in Venice and you're on some fucking Fisher-Price Baby's First guided tour, and which has some desensitized native Venetian fuck who clearly hates you and all of your cultural colonizing ilk, and is going through his state-mandated motions as quickly as possible because the tourist population outnumbers the native population 60-1. That's not a joke. That's actually a real 60-1. That's the actual tourist population to native population of Venice. It's fucked up. And he's just trying to pump out these walking tours like a fucking broodmare. And offhand, while going through the motions, saying history like, oh, here's where someone died, oh, here's where a prostitute had sex, stuff like that. And, he offhandedly mentions Italian unification, and all of your fat, disgusting Slav American pigs silently think, what do you mean Italy wasn't always Italy? There were other things before Italy, duh. And you can swoop in and go, yes, good sir, you mean the process of Risorgimento? And then his fucking his jaw drops so far that smashes into a rocketing skyward erection with such awesome power and precision that serves as a miniature particle collider, and right then and there the atom is split and the entire city is enveloped in a radiative inferno, and you'll remember this moment and say, thanks, Munchie, people like me now, and I'm also dead.
Oh, fuck.
All you gotta do is mention that, dude. Seriously, unironically, after that tour, the guy, I went up to him and was like, "Hey, where's a good restaurant around here?" And for fucking 10 minutes straight, unironically, not in Second Life, non-Neopets, non-Webkins, in real life, this guy for 10 minutes was like, "No, and those what a Risorgimento is. No, every Italian knows. You walk up to them and say, what's a Risorgimento? And they say, oh, yes, it's like this. But no, American, this is the first time in 10 years everyone's ever said that word to me. You are an American, you know what the fuck is going on. You know what the sky is blue, the grass is green. You understand? I will suck on dick right now. $2, $2, $3, 1 cent. No, for free.
Yes, I.
Dude, if you come to London to speak English,
by Mike Duncan on YouTube, and now I have all the knowledge power.
Exactly.
Right? It's that simple.
It's actually true. It's real. It's fucking. And also, you get like a better, like, especially in Italy, like if you know shit about Italian history, like you can understand what the monuments are. There's a giant fucking like unbelievably big monument. Like it's. I mean, I guess it's the same size as like the Lincoln Monument or something, but instead of like having like the outside building just be like columns and stuff, that just is, you can go inside and see the actual monument. The entire building is one big statue, where it has like the centerpiece of like the Lincoln Monument, but for like the first king of Italy. But on the outside, there's just a ton of fucking like marble statues engraved into it. If you like know what that is, it's way more impressive. Like you can just be like, you can just walk by, it's just some big fucking marble. But if you know the history, the guy Victor Emmanuel, and you know what the fuck he did, you know about the process of Risorgimento, then you have more appreciation for the things around you, and it's impressive. And
Munchie, you were tapping into what I was thinking of when we were going on and on about this stupid like slapdash, get the cred that you went to X, Y, and Z important monuments,
you have the coordinates
and then just
for
get the
the
fuck
fucking
back.
base. Yeah.
Yeah, you just touched all your bases. Is that to take in, to really appreciate the advanced fucking detailed architecture, you shouldn't just go there, be there, take a selfie, eat some fucking Dippin' Dots, ice cream of the future, and then go back to Americaville. Like, what you should do is just stay there for a month, and then just sit on a bench looking at all the architecture, and then pull out a book and learn all the context behind these buildings and when they were built, and actually do something productive and like have a fun time that way, and then just spend like a total of like 35 man hours staring at that building off in the distance as you read your book and really soaking it in and feeling the Dark Souls within you.
You know what was the best thing I could have feasibly done while in Italy, and it improved my trip tremendously? It was not only good for like just like memory jogging and like being able able to appreciate the details, but also good for my art, is I sketched all of the monuments or things that I liked a lot. So when I thought something, I want to take a picture of this, I didn't take a picture of it. I pulled out my sketchbook and I started to draw it as well as I could. And then that way, I get a more intimate understanding of the details of it, because, I gotta draw it.
Oh,
and also,
yeah.
I'm practicing drawing.
Yeah, the last time, well, the only time I went to Florence was on, like, an art trip thing. It was like a college thing. It was like, part of the tuition fee was, we'll take you to Florence and you can see the art galleries and all that cool shit. And I was like, fucking sick, cool. So I went there, and it was like, I brought my journal with me. I think that was the first time I used it. And I had, like, a lot of time to sketch buildings and architecture and paintings in galleries, and I'm like, I drawing stuff from life. I know people say, if you want to get better at drawing, you need to draw from life, you need to do it. But, like, people don't say that it is really cool and makes you appreciate things. Like, people never say that. They say, if you want to be able to draw anime boobies, you have to draw from life. That's the end goal, anime boobies all the time. Like, I would rather learn how to draw buildings really well.
Oh my god, yeah.
There's just so much
dude,
better.
I drew so many fucking buildings. It was an absolute blast. It was incredible. I loved it.
Yeah, dude, like, and for the two of you listening to this podcast who aren't wannabe artists, you can take any profession by taking inspiration from life. You can bring an artistic mindset into anything. I remember watching the fucking Vox video about, like, the newer generation of Japanese bullet trains, which, like, take their aerodynamic design inspiration from, like, the wingspan of owls and, like, the smooth, floppy belly of penguins. And, like, there's a certain kind of bird that's really good at diving into the water, and they, like, they took inspiration from its beak to, like, design their bullet train to sift through the air faster. That's fucking engineering.
Oh, I love like robots based on insects.
The classic scene in any action, like, sci-fi movie where, like, the character is, like, thinking, how do I solve the mystery? And then, like, something happens in his house, or, like, he sees a thing outside that makes him think, exactly, that's what I need to do to solve the problem in an abstract way in which I creatively thought of.
That's codes.
You ever seen those, like, those robots that are like centipedes? Like, each segment can move on its own, but when you connect them, they can move like a centipede.
Yeah, once or twice, I think.
I love, and then there's like dragonfly robots that they take things from nature and they try to turn them into robots so that basically you can just have a pet dragonfly and you can have it drop atom bombs if you want to do that.
Remember in Laputa how, like, the weird flyers that they used flew like dragonflies as opposed to like
Guys,
that was pretty
I've
sick.
got an idea for RadCon 6.
Yeah.
And we'll call it.
Whoa, is that what we're doing?
We'll call it. Yes. Well, I mean, when we get to number
colonize
6,
Mars.
It'll be RadCon 60. It'll be RadCon 666, and the joke will be that we were gonna call it RadCon 66 because the premise is that we would be driving down Route 66, except we won't do it on Route 66. Instead, we'll follow a random train, a random abandoned railroad through all of some part of Western America, because all along the railroad tracks.
So sick like that.
All along the railroad tracks in the West are ghost towns everywhere. Because back when they built the railroads, they built all these towns around the railroads, like, thinking, oh, railroads are fucking the center of commerce. And then as soon as we invented cars, railroads were completely fucking worthless, and a lot of those towns were abandoned. And so there is no tourist shit there. It's just super fucking interesting history everywhere of crazy-ass abandoned towns where you can go and just do anything.
Are you saying that...
We should get one of those, like you push one side, you pull the other, like one of those funny, like, squeaky things. Get the whole crew on that.
No, that's a good idea, but I just want to point out, if we skip out on calling it RadCon 66, we can't do an epic joke where you put, execute RadCon 66. You know, one of those.
I thought it was
when enunciated that, you made the audio sound different because you knew that's how
Yeah, because it would be my voice dubbing over it, is what it would be.
I thought the joke you were...
Like, that's the only joke you could do with 66, whereas you could do a million jokes with 666. Like, it's an endless wellspring of memes.
I thought the joke you were going to do was, RadCon 6, known as RadCon 3 in America, because they didn't
That's a good
Dude,
one.
no, I totally think
yeah,
we
that
should
would
do
be the one
we
where
should
we
do a
go to
Radcon
Japan.
where we don't stay anywhere. It's just a travelogue, and that's how we get all of the content. And
That's
that
sort
would
of what
be
I was.
excellent.
That's what I was imagining with that. is
Excellent.
that it would
Yes,
be
I
like
agree.
it would be a big road trip through the American heartland.
Because the main
trip.
reason why I would have like trepidations about of doing the true American dream, Fallout IRL, is that it is kind of dangerous and I can't respawn in real life. And
Yeah,
so
the only reason that I'd have trepidation about nuking America and starting a post-apocalyptic world, because I mean, there's some downsides.
But
to that.
if it's in a group and there's 9 strong, severely autistic men combining their powers, they'll be afraid of us.
we
is
got
what I'm
that physical
saying.
strength. That's true.
We
Ever
would be the
since-
gang of super mutants wandering the landscape.
I just want to mention real quick.
If we do get one of those train things where you push and pull, we'll be jacked by the end.
That's
I'm
true.
punch our way
I
out of
think we're
anything.
probably about to wrap up right now before, or really, the talking about this section. I just want to mention that I don't want to hear fucking a single word out of any of you foreigner pieces of shit being like, oh, Americans are so fucking patriotic, I can't stand it, and then you have a nervous breakdown. When you go to fucking Italy and there's this in the center of town, it's called the altar of patriotism, and no matter where you fucking stand, there's always a tricolor
Damn.
within your fucking periphery of vision. Italians are so fucking like
I think-
Shit, that building is
patriotic.
badass.
I know it's
Do you
Why
wanna-
is
sick as hell.
that what a tourist
Do you
trap?
wanna do you wanna hear about being
soft
patriotic?
but not that much.
You wanna hear about being
the-
patriotic though?
Say that again?
I want to hear about being patriotic in Lithuania. You can literally get fined if you don't raise your flag during special holidays.
Law. And that's not a problem, by the way. I don't have a problem with people. I don't have a problem seeing the Italian tricolor because it's fucking history and it's important and I like it. But I don't want to hear anyone be like, "Oh, America," and then fucking shitting themselves.
The reason, well, I think the reason American patriotism is made fun of is because it feels tacky. Like, look at that building. That is fucking sick.
Look,
America doesn't
we
have
do
one of
have
those.
buildings like that. If you go to DC,
No,
there are
it's
buildings
fake.
like that.
It's just cardboard cutouts. It's
Dude,
cardboard cutout Barack Obama's all the way
went to a
down.
Lady Gaga concert in Washington D.C., we were just literally wandering random sidewalks, and it looked like Anne Orlando. Like we were just like, "What the fuck is going on?" Everything is taller than life and bigger than God. It's pretty cool.
It's an underdog mentality 100%. Like, the reason why Americans being proud of America isn't liked is because we're too good. It's because we're too powerful. And the same reason why nobody wants to hear white people going on about being proud about being white is because, like, all right, guys, we get it. Please stop. This is embarrassing. Not a good look. No, not making anybody real comfortable here with this talk here. Even though it is in fact fine to be white and to think that it's okay.
75
But you say
years
that,
from now, when we're
you know.
living neck deep in the China apocalypse, every fucking person around the world is going to be able to go, yeah, remember the American era, and shit. Like, everyone will be fine with
eventually,
it then.
probably, yeah.
In that sense, thinking that Black Pride is okay is kind of racist because you're belittling the people who, it's
in
like,
a way
well,
it
you
is.
could,
In a way it
black
kind of
people are
is.
lesser, so they can have their pride.
Dude,
month
I
and all
recently
that.
watched-
It's sort of that bigotry of low expectations. It's in that ballpark. It's in that ballpark.
I recently
sort of
watched a
thing.
video called "How Africa is Becoming China's China," which is that now that China is becoming less poor, it's now more difficult for them to be the sweatshop zone. So they're turning Africa into the
right.
sweatshop zone in
Yeah,
exchange
whenever
for
production-
votes in the
That
UN.
sounds like progress to me.
I know,
sounds like
right?
the whole world's leveling up. We're all going one
I
state,
know, right?
So
Yeah, that's
hopefully-
capitalism for you,
Yeah.
baby. There it goes. There it goes.
And then eventually every country will be rich enough, and now who's gonna make our fucking like plastic toys and things that like you press in those little pimples
the
and you put them on the
mole
floor
men,
and
those
they pop
inferior
back up?
mole men below the surface of the earth.
Oh, I was just
At
thinking
last
child
will learn their
labor.
place.
But before
I mean, ideally, we'll get to a point where the people at the top have enough money that they don't need to rely on this as the only way to make money.
Yeah, something like that.
But
well, sure.
who knows?
But they'll want
I have
money
a lot
anyway.
of shit to talk about still. I think we should probably. I mean, what else are we gonna say here? Do you want to say? You want to save a bunch of the shit like Hippo? You want to save your camping trip stories for next time?
I mean, I do because I feel like it will spiral into a long
same,
conversation
same.
about
Yeah,
stuff.
okay.
Dude,
Yeah,
next
there'll be
time,
plenty of mine here.
we gotta fucking talk about city planning because I have a lot of thoughts about going to Rome. I have a lot.
Gladly.
Hey, I have a quick aside. I just want to give everybody an update from something that we talked about in the last episode. This is technically the post-main topic review period. Canonically.
What'd you rate it?
There. So let me Huel, everybody. I did in fact get Huel. I've been drinking it for like a week now, 1 meal a day, as is recommended, and then after a week you can go up to 2 meals a day. So this morning I just went for a run, did some Pokemon Going, came home, got my Huel on, and it was a lovely experience.
Isn't it fucking
It's been
dope?
Great. It's great. I really like it. It doesn't even taste bad. It's way better than Soylent.
I read a bit about Huel,
awesome.
and they to put it in nicer words, it can have irregular bowel movements.
Oh, what that is, Mage, is when you make a hard turn and you massively adjust your diet to start doing Huel immediately. Yeah, like because your gut bacteria has adjusted to the kind of diet you've been eating up to that point, it can cause an issue. Just like if you're a vegetarian for a long time and then you eat meat.
To follow up on since the whole reason we pushed the show back was to address comments, and we've never done it. Someone from Canada was saying that they really want to be a post-food boy and drink Huel, but apparently because of the fact that Canada considers it a meal replacement in their laws and not as a supplement or whatever, there's it needs to have a certain minimum amount of vitamin D that it doesn't reach, and so tariffs are too high or something, so they don't send it to Canada.
But I remember it advertised itself as a meal replacement.
Right, that's the problem.
I mean, it absolutely does, but I mean, these are just legal technicalities as to what it's classified as.
I want to put out a hit list for anyone who drinks Huel. They are anti-culture, anti-American, anti-human.
What is it?
I am across the board anti-culture, 100%.
Hold on,
I want to be
answer Hippo. Huel is a drink that is a meal. It's just a meal in a drink, basically.
It's kind of like an oat smoothie,
it's like
but with everything you need.
Yep.
Yeah, and Tom has been living off of it for most of his meals.
Ever since I first, I know I mentioned this a long time ago, but ever since I first saw The Matrix, and there was that clip in The Matrix where they have their food, and the handsome black fellow just squirts out a little bit of juice for Neo, and he's just like, there you go, everything your body needs. And they were all like, ew, gross, I don't want that. And I was like, everything my body needs, yes, please. Sign me up, that's all I want. Fuck food, fuck cooking, I hate it.
Here's the one thing I do have Stockholm Syndrome for, is food. Right? Because I find that disgusting.
You all do. Release it.
I find that disgusting, mostly because I have lived my life thinking, man, I really better get good at cooking. Mm-hmm. I see people who make good food. My dad makes good food. I like good food. I like tasty stuff.
All of them.
I watch cooking shows. I want to do that, and then to suddenly be, there's an option now you don't need food. I'm like, you're the same people who as soon as I learned how to do a skill, it's now defunct. Now I have to have done a computer science degree, and now my other degrees are useless. Fuck off! I'll just keep doing it. I don't care.
There was another comment on the last video that I thought was funny, where he was basically criticizing everyone for just so out of hand being fuck cooking, because he's cooking's fun and it's cool and it's a thing to do and I like it. And I thought he was specifically talking about Nate and how Nate just seems to want to replace everything, and I responded to him, with Nate, everything is such a process that I'm not surprised he would want to cut some of them out. I feel like it would take you longer to do cooking than it would normally take someone to do cooking.
I've noticed it's about getting in the right headspace. It takes me longer to edit a random thing. Gib can edit a podcast episode way faster than me for some reason
Nate,
that I do not understand.
Everything you do just has more steps, I think.
I think it's because I am an autistic young man.
I can see Nate getting all the ingredients, putting them all together, getting everything in the oven, and then taking the oven and put it in Sony Vegas and have all these fucking transitions to the meal.
Whenever I'm doing anything, I have to break it down into the component steps so that I know exactly what I'm doing, if I'm making progress, etc. I'm sure people who are just better at getting things done out of the box could be more efficient.
I say that cooking is fun. Here's my cooking process. First, I think, do I want it to be something that's fried? I say yes. What pans are not currently dirty? Well, here's a pan that is kind of dirty, but if it gets to boiling, then all the germs are cleaned, right? So I'll just use the oil that's already on it. Some actual restaurants just keep using the same grease for decades. I've had donuts that were cooked that way, so I'll just use that. And I turn it on, and as it's heating up, I then look in the freezer to see which meats I want to cook, and then I just put them on there, and then I just keep putting ingredients until it's done.
Yeah, for me, it's I open the freezer, and there's 5 different varieties of Asian steamed buns. and I decide if I want the octopus.
I can confirm this is true.
Do I want the octopus shumai, or do I want the crab rangoon thing, or do I want the pork steamed bun, or do I want the, I've just got like one of each meat, one being octopus, which is the best one, and then I just steam that shit for 10 minutes, and it's done, and I eat it, and it's delicious. It's like Huel, but it has flavor.
It is not to be overstated how good the food in Italy is. Aside from obviously all the tourist traps that are shit and try and be like, hamburger, you'll get your hamburger with the spaghetti on it, and they try and trick you into eating hamburgers when you're in Italy. Aside from all that shit, food in Italy is unbelievable. There is a fucking the reason I'm pro food.
No, Munchie, I need to clarify this because we have history. Italy versus Italy, go.
Okay. Unironically, the best tagliatelle I've had has been at Italy because because everything in here's the difference between the ragu in Italy versus the ragu in Italy. Because the Italy is almost like a shred beef, sort of like beef stew-esque what do you call it, meat, and it goes really well with the sauce because it's really hot and stuff, and it's almost like a soupy little mess of pasta. But the ragu, the beef ragu in Italy is more like a ground beef, and I really dislike the texture of having the ground beef esque in the sauce, and I just like it. But aside from all that, here's a new dish I haven't even heard of before that is fucking delicious. What is it, Nate? What do you want?
I've got, can I take a huge tangent here? Because I just remembered a great story. Is what you're talking about interesting at all? Because this is better.
It is. Okay, I'm just gonna say it real quick. Okay. There's a new fucking dish, and it's fucking delicious. It's what I've always wanted. You may call me queer, you may call me fucking insane, but I've always wanted this. A condiment. I want to add something to the pantheon of condiments. You got your Zeus ketchup. You've got your fucking Poseidon ketchup. I want to add to the pantheon of gods right there. You may call me queer and insane. I want to add egg yolk to that. I want egg yolk to be a common condiment.
I agree.
That you dip French fries or steak in. Whenever you have steak and eggs, when you have steak and eggs, you fucking cut open the yolk and you dip your steak in it, and it's fucking delicious. And you know what they have in Italy? They have a pasta that's, instead of sauce, it's egg yolk. They have egg yolk pasta, and it's egg yolks. It's a little bit of cheese. It's pasta, and then it's bacon and black pepper, and it's called carbonara, and it's delicious, and it's fucking good. It's so fucking good. So
there's a lot of times where I make a hamburger. I make a hamburger, and I fry an egg to put on the hamburger. Right.
That's the way.
And if I cook the egg just ever so perfectly, the first bite will release the yolk, and it will soak the meat, and it'll get down to the bun. Which, if the bun has been sufficiently mayonnaised, which creates a seal, it will not soak through the bun entirely, and you have just created fucking immaculate orgasmic food product.
I never even considered that you could seal the fucking bun with mayonnaise.
That's what Alton Brown on Good Eats said. That's why you put the mayonnaise on the bun.
Shit. Oh man, I'm so fucking hungry. I gotta get some food after
Sam,
this.
I'm gonna go
All right, strap in for the story of a fucking lifetime, everybody. All right, here it comes. Okay. So my girlfriend was just at her job the other day. This is a story through her, but you'll trust me, this is worth it. It relates to me, so it's still good. So she's at work or whatever, doing her thing, and then because she's an attractive young lady, a guy just comes up to her and is like, "Hey, what's up?" Starts chatting her up. Eventually, he asks "Oh, you moved here from Hawaii? That's crazy. Why'd you move here?" And she says, "Well, I moved here for a guy." And he's just like, "Oh wow, that's pretty cool." And then that just passes for a while. Eventually, because this guy obviously is way into her, he brings it up a few more times, just like, "What is this guy like? How did he pull this off? Like, what exactly is the deal here?" And she's just like, "Well, whatever.
How did he win you, object? What do I have to do to win you now?"
Basically. And so it culminates with she's just like, "Well, I moved it for a guy, he's a YouTuber. I like him a lot. He's really cool." And he's like, he's a YouTuber, but does he even play Fortnite?" Literal what? And she says, "No." And he goes, "Yeah, or some guy," and struts off. Disgusting. This actually happened.
Wow. You were slain that night.
I was
duel him in Fortnite, or else you're gonna lose Michelle.
I know. I have no choice. I have to defend my honor. Jesus.
I
You know
like
what?
to
I have
imagine
played a
her
little
like
bit of-
coming home in a huff and like throwing something at you and be like, "Come, why don't you
I'm like,
play
"What's wrong?"
Fortnite?" Like, is that what he
You're
hoped
not
would
even
happen?
a real man, Nate. What are you doing? You're wasting your fucking life here. Yeah, that was it.
Why would you play Fortnite when you look at me anymore?
Anyway, that was it. I thought you'd all enjoy that.
Isn't Fortnite like the shitty free version of another even more?
No, it's actually
popular
No,
the
game?
better
it's
version.
the better free version.
You could call it better.
It's
in
legitimately
some
a good
ways.
game, but it is very like kiddie.
I could not
Everybody
fathomably
loves
have
it.
interest in it.
It's the
basically the
natural
new Minecraft,
progression of Minecraft
basically.
X Overwatch.
No, I
Yeah,
know
that's
that
right.
because I saw my May's like autistic cousin who's
Why do
like
you both
12
have
playing
autistic
it,
cousins?
and everyone has
Yeah,
an
you're full of
autistic
them,
cousin
dude.
because our families are all
Yeah, you know, I
autistic.
just realized that I have
It's
multiple autistic
genetic.
cousins. I forgot.
I don't know if you've noticed, but we are a cabal of autists on the internet, and everyone in our family is probably closer on the spectrum to that side.
You know,
Think
I haven't
about
played any
about
Fortnite
everyone in
since-
your family and slowly realize, oh shit,
all autistic,
oh
yeah.
fuck, it all makes
I'm
sense
from
now.
I'm from a family of mega
not really.
normies, and me and Ben
Yeah.
stand out like gigantic sore thumbs
Same,
from like the
same.
rest of our
Wait,
family.
hold on, Nate. Your dad
What?
studies psychology, and Hippo,
you
your
know-
dad is like a multi instrumentalist who's like a musical expert. Like these are both like highly autistic hobbies.
You know
and
what? My
careers.
dad is by far the most educated
Well, he's not-
of
it's
like
not a
our
career,
family. So he
but-
he does stand out as like I'm not to be mean to them, but like the smartest one of the bunch. So I guess that trickled down into like us
Into
being
me,
weirdos, maybe.
who's the smartest of this bunch.
the intellectual gods that are me and Ben.
If autistic just means like good, then yes.
I mean, by our standards, it probably does. Like, I would think that what we value
sort of.
is things that are more on the
Right.
like.
I mean,
isn't
look,
the way that-
look at Einstein. Like, if Einstein's work was helped by having autism as opposed to not having autism, it was a good thing.
Isn't the way
for
that
him in
autism
case.
works is that like a lot of parts of your brain don't work right or don't get enough like fucking attention, and therefore you overdevelop other parts. It's sort of like being blind will make you hear better and vice versa. I think that's how it works, right?
I don't
like-
know.
I feel
believe
like
that.
this is another situation where Digi is just using a word in a way that it doesn't actually mean.
You know what it is? It's that
Um,
language is all broken and wrong, and I'm the only
Yeah,
one who
yeah,
solved it.
I agree.
Digi, I just want to say, I am so sad, Digi, that you were not here for the episode on language where these fucking bullies were just laying into me for having objections with the concept of language, and you come in here later arguing the exact same
I'm
points.
sorry.
was
I wanted
alone
to be
out
on
there.
that one. I wish
know,
I had
I know.
been. I hate language. It's an authoritative
Yes.
practice of bullshit
Thank you.
and lies, and all it does is cause problems for humanity. It
Well.
also causes all the solutions, but it also causes all the
Okay.
problems.
Humanity
There
causes
are
problems
issues.
to
right now,
humanity.
like another. Like right now, another 2 hours added on the podcast. Language 2. Let's do it
Okay,
right
all right.
here.
Let's make language 2 next.
Oh,
episode.
oh!
The debate will be
Italians
whether or not
are
it's language TOO
really
or
funny
TO.
because of language. Because a lot of their
so?
food is just foreign words, but spoken in Italian. So you have
Hello, spaghetti.
You have a Florence dish called bistecca, and you know what it is? It's beef steak, but it's bistecca. And it's like a high
That's
class
how
thing.
That's how Japanese is too, with all the like.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's true.
Steaky.
Suteki.
Beautiful.
Well, that's
All right,
Oh,
we
it's
need
fun.
to fucking. Oh, and
Yeah, we gotta move along
hamburger.
Whatever. Let's go. We can talk
right,
about all
all
this
right,
next time because I have a lot of fucking shit to say still.
yeah,
Are
I
we
just-
on
let's-
questions now, or do we still have like songs to do? Or
Now
is that a thing?
that's a good question. There was one final opportunity for people because the deadline was the 31st of July, which we are now past. So the contest entries are over. There's no more, but we gave people a small window. Now, I hate to say it, but one person submitted their entry on August 1st. After the deadline. There was one final entry. Here's what I thought we could do. We can't accept it as the winner, but I thought we might just play it on the show just because he made it. I don't have a problem with that. It won't be formally in the running to win, but I thought that might be nice.
Sure.
Let's
you know?
go for it.
Shit.
Okay.
Yeah.
What if it's the best
Now,
one?
let me see. This is by, I know, I hope it's not literally the best one. It's by @MossSpheres. MossSpheres? Yeah, whatever. And it's called PC. Oh, it's like PCPHEME. So
Something
PC
about that name just
theme.
reminded me that I'm a slave to
Whatever.
the United States government and there's nothing I can do. Something about I don't know what, but I just remember it.
Sounds good. All right, here we go. Listen to PC theme. Here we go.
This will have to be the menu screen music for the PCP RPG.
It's a good one. Oh, it's building.
No, this is the Kingdom Hearts trailer for PCP.
Basically. Oh, this is 3 minutes long.
It's got the slow start.
I don't know
Now-
how this in any way reflects the PCP.
Not to be rude, but I think this might be a repurposed song.
It sounds like it was made for a video game.
It sounds like
Yeah.
Steven Universe sort of.
It does, actually.
PCN Pirachu.
It would be like an actual piano, though. if it was
Why
Steven
is there
Universe.
not a political compass for the PCP instead of like left to right? It's gay and dead, and then you can have the. Then there's the two other
Oh my
ones.
god.
Well, you have to have 4 things, right? Gay, dead, what's the other axis?
Well, I mean,
Brony and
Gay and Dead would have
Weeb and Weeb?
Undertale.
Gay and Dead couldn't be on two opposite ends of the axis
Cleveland Weeb,
because
yeah.
like the idea is that you're both at once. So like
Yeah.
so
There's
you know
gay and straight, and
And
there's
she-
dead and alive.
that could work. I
I'm
guess.
alive and they would be alive and straight. Did you?
Yeah,
be
didn't
dead
I
and
literally
would, I
made
would.
a 4-quadrant alignment of us of edginess and
Oh
like
yeah, I remember
something
when you
else.
put me as more edgy and like right wing than Mumkey, which is
Yes, I did.
You know, fair enough. Fair enough.
I thought this was gonna
This is
like
just
ramp
still
up,
going?
but it's just.
Oh wait,
It's-
yeah.
is it changing?
It's just a fucking regular ass song, man. It's like it's just it's
Okay, you know
It's
what?
it's like a Hollow Knight background
Yeah.
song.
Yeah, I hate to cut you off, a first Heron, aka whatever, but I think we've heard enough.
And
Disconnect,
you will be killed. You will hear a message
and you
from our
will be
lawyer.
destroyed. You know, I'm kind of glad that it wasn't something that I would really want to seriously consider as
Oh,
a thing.
you didn't have to say that. You didn't have to say it like that.
No, well,
all right, fuck
that's
them.
not
Let's
even
get
an
to some
insult.
cool ass questions.
Savage.
All right,
Like
it's
Chip
time for
Wiseman,
questions.
who asked if Kirby sucked you up and devoured your soul, what
a
ability would you
thousand
have
times
played?
before. I don't know why people upvoted that. We've said that 1,000 times.
Well,
Fuck
I-
that question.
That's like the what is your
Forgot.
favorite
All
anime
right,
question?
Paradox
All right,
Crocs
but for
asks,
video
what's the
games.
next big thing you're saving up for?
like
a
Switch.
Switch.
Is that what you're saying, or like artistically, like what you're going to be making soon?
I think
No, I think
monetarily.
money
money.
A Switch.
Yeah.
A computer.
Switch? Good choice.
I
Good
already
choice.
bought a laptop, and I'm gonna buy a desktop soon.
Good. Nice.
Probably having money, and then after that, going to the dentist because I'm getting a lot of dark spots, and it's starting to look. It's probably still not cavities. It's probably just staining because I drink fucking coffee constantly. But
Dentists are
you
a
know,
fucking
getting a
scam.
bit
Don't get
concerned.
braces. If you get braces, you're literally cuck, and it will destroy you.
No, braces are
I
good.
agree.
I already had
braces
braces
are
for 4
terrible.
years. I already had
let me
braces
just
for 4
point you
years,
to
and
the-
then I stopped wearing the retainer, and they're getting a little bit crowded again. I still haven't had my fucking wisdom teeth taken out, so my mouth is still kind of a fucking mess.
Yeah, I should probably go to the
Cur-
dentist.
No, or
I'm
not,
currently right
'cause
now
it's
having
fucking-
some gum pain.
It's
yeah.
it's a scam.
Well, it's
Well,
expensive,
Digi,
but
unlike
if it-
you, I actually brushed my teeth and floss and mouthwash.
I don't
almost
know
every night,
why.
so
That's good. That's good.
The next thing I'm saving up for is Tom taught me that there are now like 16 core processors that you
Yeah,
can get
holy
for like
shit,
800
right?
bucks. And so, I mean, that's not the next big thing because the next big thing is my taxes. But after that, 16 core
Christ.
processor is all that's on my
yeah.
Saving up
and I
to
remember
pay
you
his
telling me,
taxes.
it's like,
Yeah.
oh, dude,
God.
you can like fucking render 3 times as fast if you use these, and it's like, yeah, or you could have like just used Adobe Premiere, which renders 3
Tom,
times faster than Vegas.
The CPU that you
Is that
recommended
even
me, Tom,
true?
Was that a 16 core? Or was
yeah,
that an
it
8
kind of
core?
is. Like anytime Ben used my
I initially
computer for
recommended
Vegas, it
you
was
a
like
16
dead.
core, Nate, and you were like, "That's too expensive. I don't need that."
Oh yeah, I think I took like the one below that because that was like, I mean, the one you pointed was like $1,500 or something. I think.
Like,
that
Ben-
was-
whatever.
Time
That was
has
like
passed
the
since then.
The
so-
Super
That's
Intel
true.
one. There's an AMD one that's like a little bit less expensive, but still
Yeah,
pretty
yeah.
beastly. So yeah,
Yeah.
There's things. There's things.
I mean, I know what the main thing I'm saving up for is I have already decided a certain threshold of money that I need to save before I'm comfortable going full-time YouTubing. So once I reach that, that'll be pretty good.
Yeah, did you
other than that,
read
a new
Premiere
car.
speeds? It can render like 1.5 minutes of pretty advanced video per minute, which Vegas is a lot slower
good.
than. But DigiUC is really invested in this idea of Vegas being the really easy and convenient editing program, even though it's really the same as Premiere.
Don't frame it that I am actually invested in that. That is just a thing I tell people so that they will start making videos. Like, I don't actually believe that Vegas is in any way superior to Premiere. It's just the one I know.
I think it's a little easier to use. That's something.
It's just so immediate. Like, you can literally look at Vegas and understand how to edit. Like, in my opinion,
Yeah.
anyway. way. But maybe it's just the way my brain works. But like,
I agree.
I do think that I would encourage people to, if you want to make the next step, to level up to the more advanced programs. But like, when people are on Twitter being like, I don't know how to edit, I'm like, download Vegas and look at it, and you'll know how to edit.
I just don't respond to those.
Vegas is,
I'm like the old the ancient martial arts master living on the top of the mountain. If you're not willing to climb the mountain to get to me, to prove that you're really committed to it already, fuck it. Just literally Google it. Figure it out.
So Sony Vegas is it can do most things pretty well, and it is like pretty understandable to use. Like to move a thing across the screen, you go into the little menu and you can drag it around.
It sucks. They're in another menu. It's terrible.
Okay, it's I'm speaking
True.
right now. But so at some point in Sony Vegas, you will come up to a wall. If you get used to it and you're like, okay, I want to do this sort of effect. I've seen it done before. How does it get done? And it doesn't exist. And that is when you have to make the pilgrimage to Premiere. And after that, you'll think, oh, I want to do this thing. But it doesn't happen in there. So how do I do that? You go to After Effects. And that's just like, those are the two.
I pretty much figured that out because of Nate doing that effect where he makes the screen like balloon open and then pop. Like,
oh yeah.
And when I first saw him do that, I was just like, Sasuga Premiere. Like, this must be what the next stage is,
Everyone just needs to use HitFilm Express. It's like After Effects and Premiere, but free.
Armor Retrieval, the entirety of Armor Retrieval was made in fucking HitFilm, besides the last few episodes, which Ethan made in Vegas, but like the majority.
Okay, what was the question? I don't think we were
what are you saving up money for? I don't think Tom answered yet.
Oh yeah,
an apartment.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
I'm not really saving up for any like money thing. Like, of course, it would be nice to have money so that I could get an apartment. But I'm not like, I don't see like more than getting the money. I'm worrying about like having a way to get the money, like creatively, like doing the thing. I'm in a creative like not a rut, but like I'm figuring things out. And I'm getting going on real stuff.
You should creatively go to like monster.com and just search for like jobs I can do. And then
I have, alright.
Go to monster.com.
I'm kidding, dude. I'm kidding.
I have, alright. I have
Monsters
a
4
job.
is about monster.com.
Eat shit and suck a penis. I have a job. It's just, I'm not really thinking about like saving up. I'm just thinking about like taking one day at a time, like figuring out things. Yeah, but right. I guess what a thing I kind of want recently, I had this idea that Fruity Loops makes me cry. So I want or FL Studio as it's now called.
I mean, that's what it stands for. Like,
yeah. And I wanted to get one of those like musician keyboards, the ones that they have on their desk instead of on a keyboard stand.
Yeah, like a MIDI controller.
That doesn't have weighted keys, and you plug it into the computer, and you can make MIDI songs with it, or you can just use it in programs like that instead of having to click with your mouse.
Should do that.
You play it on.
That's something I wanted for a really long time, and Tom had one and was gonna sell it to me, but I didn't end up buying it. This was like 5 years ago, though. They're cool.
If any music men are in the audience, and I know there are, please give me your recommendations of like how to get into
Best
that sort of
MIDI
thing, because I have no idea what you do.
Here's a super fucking circle jerky question by me Manifest. What is a character trait you wish you could inherit from the other members?
Oh,
character trait.
I wish I had Sire's good looks.
I think we all can agree.
Wait, what was the
one.
question?
What is a character trait you wish you could inherit from the other members?
Nate's diligence.
I want Jeff's height.
Yeah, you know what? I think probably the most would be Nate's relentlessness.
Yes.
Relentlessness? That's a...
Wanting to do things and doing them.
It's the best.
Yeah, I guess if you could take a piece from a person, but not their entire personality, then it's great.
Munchie's
you just take all the best bits and leave all the bad bits.
That's a lot.
Oh yeah, I
just
would
want
love
to
that. I would
be
love
Munchie instead
the,
of me.
If you were to like try and take my mind, like it would be like lost in translation. Like if you tried to like reach inside my mind and take it out by force, like the moment you like relinquish it from the inner, like from being in my skull, it will like instantly deteriorate and like turn to dust.
I believe
Probably.
that.
I would really like Digi's lack of inhibitions, like to do the sort of like videos where you're being like, yeah, I'm a cringy. Who cares? I'm doing all this stuff, and it's like the confidence is.
The funny thing about that is that I feel as though I have only very recently like actually had no inhibitions. Like I've started being shirtless in videos, and I was terrified to ever be shirtless in a video until recently. But it always fucked with me because tons of people are shirtless in videos all the time. Like, lots of YouTubers I follow, they do it for comedy or just because. Like, no one gives a fuck. Like, Victor's shirtless in every video he's in, so, it's just that I have body image problems, so I didn't want to be shirtless, you know? And then at some point I just went, fuck it. Like, I don't give a shit anymore. So...
I'd like a lot of Tom's, just, like... savviness
mustache
of like just a lot of information that Tom has would be very useful, and I always find myself going to Tom to ask like business or technical questions.
Same.
I feel like that would be very
I don't want that
to
stuff
have
though,
on
because I
board.
like having a guy who knows that stuff. Like, I just like to be able to consult the guy so that because to me that stuff becomes very time consuming if you actually keep track of it. Like, tech is replaced so often that it's like I just don't want to have to know any of it until the moment that it's
that's
like
the case.
upgraded
I need to start
enough.
charging all of you for this because
Yeah,
if I'm wasting my
much.
time, I need to take your money.
Digi, I see that you're
much.
stuck in the same like paradox that I am. I keep running through every attractive attribute of each of these members, and then I can't decouple the attribute from the life path required to obtain it, and so
Right.
then I have to keep rewriting my own life, and I'm like, well, I don't want to be that different of a person, and so I'm kind of stuck. I can't make any decisions.
Yeah.
I would also like Davu's ability to use language effectively in small videos where he explains points, because I stumble upon words quite
what
often
I do in
and
all
I
my
don't make
vlogs
points
is
very well.
I start them like 12 times until eventually it comes out right.
Yeah.
So every vlog you've ever seen that's short, it's like the 20th take, not even exaggerating.
You know what
and
else
also
I would
you
like?
edit the shit out of the audio. Like, I know when you do just audio, there's like hours cut from them sometimes.
This might lead to some unforeseen consequences, but I would like Ben's pacifism to the like he can just be in any scenario and not care. Like,
Actually,
it doesn't matter what will happen to him.
That is
Pacifism isn't the word I would use, but like his
Pacificity?
Apathy?
Probably, yeah.
I just wish I had his ability to live on the lowest. Like, he legit doesn't
On the edge.
care about if he the edge, I guess that's the word I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Like,
Live alternatively.
he's just not afraid of having no safety net under him, because he's like, well, what's the worst that can happen? And it's like,
pretty much.
and
He's
the answer is always like, the answer is the worst that could happen is not that bad. Like, it's not hard to climb back up from a low point if you know how. And I guess just because he just has that intellect that he could, like, I mean, he's worked as a fucking scientist before, so it's like, I know I can go back there if I really want to, but like,
That's true.
So what's the worst that could ever happen, you know, other than losing a limb or something like that? But it's hard to like convince yourself that, you know, to actually like make decisions on that basis.
Oh, Nate's. I want Nate's meme library that he has in his brain.
That is a very helpful thing. It helps a lot.
Because whenever I want to like have like a funny image on screen, I never know
Me
what to
neither.
do.
I-
I don't go to 4chan. I don't know these.
I save.
things.
I even like when I was young, I did it even more. But I still, possibly more than ever now, I make an effort to save every funny meme image that I think might even be useful potentially. It's a real habit that I'm glad I did.
You know what I want to know, Nate? How do you organize your computer files? Because right now I'm getting a new computer, so I want to transfer all my files, and I want to make my computer to mess right now. How do you organize your downloaded images?
Specifically with some people are really meticulous about like grouping, like, okay, Pepe images go in the Pepe reaction image folder. Okay, my transparent PNGs that I can use for the particular like effect on 4chan, those go in like this folder. I gave up on that, and instead I gave myself the freedom to I literally put them all in one folder. And what I do is I go there, I scroll to a random section, and I just look for something. So I get a lot of spontaneity with like the stuff that I end up using. Or like
I had a feeling that was how you did it from the way that you tend to send images, because there's no like consistent formula. It's like
it's all over the place. It's all over the place. I'm not like those. Like some people are like.
Currently, is I just have a 4chan folder, and then inside that there's a different folder for each board, and then I separate by board, and then I just put all the images that I get from one board into that one folder.
That makes sense. I pretty much everything is like from V. I'm on V way more than like every other board.
All right,
I wish I still had my meme folders from like a decade ago, back when I actually did.
I made an effort to save mine.
I can't be bothered to make a meme folder. I really tried, but then just like I can't be bothered.
Oh, hey, I just wanted to say on the subject, while Ben was relevant, I did want to say one thing about Ben. Well, I consider myself a very diplomatic person, and I really don't try to burn bridges. Just paradoxically, I very much admire Ben's willingness to burn bridges and his brutal honesty. I like those a lot.
Yeah, I like the brutal
and I think they're admirable qualities.
I've
like whenever there's something going on here or elsewhere, I just wait for Ben to roll up and say the thing that I don't want to have to be the guy to say.
Well, it's just that with Ben, he is not willing to make any concessions whatsoever on being himself. Yeah. And like, granted, he's a reasonable person with like. He will listen to you and try to like say, okay, well, if I agree with what you're saying, I will acquiesce. But if he doesn't agree, he will in no way budge on anything, and it's definitely something to be admired in that way.
All right,
I would rather just run away from conflict and just stop talking.
I decided how I would answer the question. I want Jesse's video game catalog and playing experiences, and probably, if I have to have it packaged, his taste in video games as well. So yeah, because he's got at least in the top 3 best taste in video games of people who I know.
Who are the other 2?
I think Jim Sterling's taste in video games is fascinating because of how much he likes convenience and doesn't like hard things.
Convenience.
He worships Kirby. I know that.
And
I had no idea.
He likes
Kirby.
Kirby.
I don't know. I kind of rank good taste based on interesting taste, so maybe some sort of like amalgamation of Razor Fist and Examined Life of Gaming as like the ultimate gray-brown boredom simulator
fag.
I was
gonna use the word amalgamation. Now I'll seem like a copycat.
What were you going to use it for, Mage?
I said I wanted to say that my personality is just amalgamation of bad choices, so no one wants anything from me.
You know what I want? You know what I want? I want Hippo's dad. Give me your dad, Hippo.
That's not a personality.
Hippo, you know me. Give him over peacefully, or I'm coming for him myself.
You can try. Maybe you can try, but it's not going to be easy.
For sure.
That'd be good.
You know what I want? I want Munchie's youth. I want 12, 13
What do you
years
mean?
of my life
There's
back.
nothing youthful about it.
I like...
You know, I will say about Mage, though, I do like Mage's air of mystique. I do
that
like
is pretty
that.
sick.
That
Oh,
is
no.
cool. That is cool.
Who is Mage?
I don't.
Where did she?
I don't even do it on
we don't
purpose.
know.
I would love.
Well, it's just natural.
I would love I would love Mage's past of being like a rough and tumble knife wielding freak in the streets.
Nate,
I want that. I wish I had like a weird past.
I want
I'm
Mage's
just a normal kid
superhero
who grew up in a
persona.
place.
Nate, to slightly modify what you said, like I do think that it would be nice to have Mage's lack of having completely fucking doxed myself on the internet and everyone like knows what I look like and
Yeah, that comes with costs. That comes with costs. It's true.
I like Hippo's like ability to make like these odd jokes, but they're funny. It's the way they come out of your mouth. It's
the
good.
zingers.
Yeah.
Hippo's zingers are like the best in the world.
And his mind for puns is
I love puns.
unrivaled.
I love puns so much.
Unrivaled.
It's so good. I wish I was
All right, well,
good
this is
at
just a
puns.
circle jerk now.
Yeah.
I like those.
We're 2.5
But,
hours in. Do we want
we've
to
run
have
it
any
dry.
other good questions? or should
Let me
we
just
fucking-
real quick find a pity question here. What do we got?
Like a
this
shitty
one's
question.
terrible. At SizWhiteScum69 asks, Evo is going on as you speak. Y'all gonna tune in? Does anyone care about Evo?
No.
You guys
Nope.
interested at all?
I
No?
care about fighting games, but I'm not
Who
going
the
to
Munchie
fuck
might.
cares about video games? What a
Yeah.
joke.
Electronic
it's fucking
video
boggling to me
online.
that you, Nate, can like play Kingdom Hearts and like
Yeah.
play RPGs and then say
At a
stuff
high
like
level.
League of Legends is a waste of time. When like these super
Well-
fucking long single player RPGs where you have no outside connection to the world is like a useful waste of time.
Okay, saying that like a long RPG is a waste of time is in my mind is the same as saying, and this might be true, but it's like saying reading a long fantasy novel is a waste
I
of
was
time.
gonna-
Like
yeah.
it kind of is. It kind of is.
Well,
but it's for
I don't
entertainment,
think either
you know?
of them are
I
a
mean,
waste of time.
there
I
is
just think
no
that
RPG
multiplayer
that
games-
lasts nearly as long as what League of Legends will take of your life.
Okay.
Like
That's a
Right.
reasonable
I do
point.
wanna-
the
That's a reasonable
absolute
point.
most time you ever, when people talk about like super in-depth, super long RPGs, they're like, dude, 300 hours. Like that's the standard. Like I did absolutely everything. I 100%ed Disgaea. I 100%ed Skyrim. Like 300 hours. League of Legends, you can play 300 hours in like 2 weeks and then be playing it for 10 fucking years. And
Something like that. Yeah. I mean, I
it
played for
will
years.
eat your
I played for
whole
the
entire
entire
I want
fucking
to-
life.
I want
Full
to-
disclosure, I do speak as a person who's played Team Fortress 2 for 2,700 hours.
There
Shit
you
on
go.
my ass.
I want to.
And that's
Mage,
how it
what
is
were
for
you
all
saying?
those any of those games that people play as a lifestyle. Like that's the difference. Is
But-
like
but
Kingdom
I'm
Hearts you
talking-
consume as a work of art with a message that is just like watching an anime or watching a movie.
true.
You know,
Yeah.
it's just
And like I went
League
back.
of Legends
I went back
is
to
an
Kingdom,
esport, and it's gay.
I want.
I went back
No,
to Kingdom
esports are
Hearts.
good. I
Like
love
for
them.
No, they're just
Oh,
as
yeah,
gay
I
as
wish to
regular
speak.
sports.
And regular
Yeah.
sports are
I was
even
just speak Munchie.
Oh
Whoa,
shit.
shit.
Whoa.
Sorry, it's just like,
Still cut you.
I've been trying not to speak much this whole podcast, but I want to say before I forget the point.
Yeah, go for it.
With the Nate's comparison with the you know the whole long novel book thing, like it's like you make a choice, and like I think you don't really regret. It's not a waste of time if you make a choice and you do it because you really want to. But with like MMOs and stuff like that, there's this sort of like a psychological need to sort of log in every day and do a thing because you kind of need to. You have to. You already invested so
Agreed.
much. Why can't you? Why
Kinda.
can't you invest? You know, you just kind of have to
That's-
keep going, and that's like
That's why I hate multiplayer games, because I feel like I have to keep playing all the time to stay competitive so I can actually enjoy playing the game. If I take a break from a multiplayer game and I get shitty, then I'm just going to get tooled on, and then it's not fun anymore. and it
Incidentally,
sucks.
that's why I've never gotten into a multiplayer game, because like the way I play video games is in one go. Like, if it's a single-player game, I'm gonna play it in a day or two and be done with it and never look at it again.
Yeah.
So, like, with a game like, say, Splatoon, everyone loves it and everything, and, like, I played it for, like, an hour one night and, like, an hour the next night, and I went, alright, well, I feel like I've played Splatoon, so that's done.
The reason I
I'm-
play video games is for the social aspect, and specifically
Right, that's the difference.
The appeal of dominating another human being to make another human
Sure.
being feel less.
I just do that in my raps, dog!
Damn, nigga! I mean,
Like,
N-word.
I play video
I
games.
was-
I play video games. Yeah, go ahead.
I was
Mitch, go ahead.
thinking, you know, I used to play a lot of MMORPGs, like a lot of MMORPGs. I used to hop from MMORPG to another one, like within months, sometimes weeks, depending on how interesting it was. The thing, I managed to sort of like train myself, like to ask myself, am I still having fun with this game, or am I doing this because it feels like a chore and I have to do it? As soon as the game starts feeling like a chore and like I'm logging in just for the sake of logging in, I stop playing the game and I move on. And I still get caught up in this stupid psychological need to log in into some games, but I really try to, like, I recently cut out a game out of my life, and I still have like this sort of itching need to go back to it, but it was an app on my phone, and I uninstalled it, and I don't want to look back at it ever again, because it lured money out of me, and I regret deeply ever spending money on it.
The multiplayer time crunch, time sink singularity has just reached closer and closer to a singularity over the last like 20 goddamn years. And this is part of why I'm entering into game design with such confidence, because I know even if it takes a couple of games, a couple of years, better part of a decade, anyone who has their head firmly attached to their fucking neck is going to be able to figure out how to make a game that people are going to actually play, because most development resources are constantly being diverted to the newest variation of multiplayer MMO hybrid cash grab trend. Right now it's fucking Battle Royale. Before that it was MOBAs. Before that it was MMOs. And like everyone's wasting their time trying to run for all the money. There's no way games would be so multiplayer centric if not for the fact that they have the most open monetization strategies, when what most people really want is like a certain amount of gameplay with a certain experience to be felt, and it's just a giant shit show farce that it's so multiplayer centric out there.
I don't think... Okay, there's a distinction here. I don't think you have to play multiplayer games the way that I or the people play them. There's nothing like set in stone, like you have to play them for thousands of hours.
Well, they are designed to psychologically manipulate you to do this.
You can rise above it. It's no one's fault but your own if you get put in these traps.
I agree. Like I said, like as soon as I feel like the game stops being fun and I just do it just because it's a chore, then I stop playing it. But I have spent a lot of time playing those games because I did generally enjoy playing those games. It's just the need to stop.
I gotta appreciate, Munchie, that like you can say it's your own fault, but I mean, you get into these games young for the most part, or when you're in a time of social unrest, or you don't have enough in your life, and they prey on you, you know, just the same way advertising does. Like, it's...
And when have you ever bought something that was advertised to you? You don't, because you know better.
What you do 2 weeks later when you're thinking about what to buy.
I will literally like see a commercial for a tasty like Burger King burger and go buy it immediately.
I can relate. Sometimes me and Biter just watch something and like we're watching anime or something, and they like in the anime they like eat some sort of food, like let's say a burger or a crepe, and I was like, I want that now, and Biter laughs with me because I always do it.
I feel that way all the time.
I see the food, I want the food.
Because usually when I'm hungry and I want to go get food, it's a 10-minute conversation of, well, what do you want to eat? Well, I don't know. What do you want to eat? Well, I don't know. And if a commercial just comes on right then, it's like, bam, done. Like, let's go to Hardee's. Like,
but hey, to respond to Munchie's point, Munchie, I totally sympathize with your love of the social aspect and of dominating noobs in MMO or TF2, whatever. Because like I played League of Legends, like all my friends who I played with for many years, were much better than me because they worked much harder and like researched meta changes and like researched like the best guys.
It's fun.
I'm not even saying they were.
I like that.
Yeah, of course it's fine. Of course it's fine.
No, fun.
But like,
fun
but here's the thing. But fun. You're right. It absolutely is fun. But here's the thing. Right now, some of my friends are going through a period of like, oh, well, we don't play those anymore. Has that time really like the reason I started YouTube was the time I stopped playing League of Legends. My entire YouTube career could have just been me playing League of Legends instead. It was basically a 1-for-1 trade of one for the other. Nice. And I could not be more glad that I made that trade, but some of my friends didn't. And looking back, I think they regret it. And that is what I want to emancipate people from. If people want to play a game with their friends, as I did socially, just like to connect with them, to talk, to get together and have fun, I could not be more okay with that. But what I fear is that later on they'll get kind of sucked into the world and they'll end up wasting something of their lives that I don't care if people waste their lives and they're okay with it, but they will regret it later. That's what I don't want people to experience.
It's not by and large, I'm saying that multiplayer games are an unmitigated like blessing upon the world. But I feel like they get an unfair rap for things that just are human nature to want to sink hours.
Human nature is extremely flawed, and we have to engineer around it because it is a problem. We have to be smarter than human nature.
The thing
so
is,
that's why I object to things like I don't like the ban on like gigantic soft drinks in like New York City, but like I really understand why they would do something like that because humans are not smart enough to know not to drink stuff like that. So I do not have a huge amount of faith in just human intuition, human decision making, any of those things.
I see what you mean. All those MOBAs are like the 32-ounce Coke of video games. And the thing is, the thing with those mega IPs, those things that like it's this one entity that can suck out all your time, is that pretty much the same amount of time and the same type of effort, the same like variety of skills and focuses you can instead just engage in the hobby of an entire medium. Like, the 2,000 hours you can spend playing League of Legends can be spent on all the different kind of games that you hear about, and I know you're all interested in playing. I know everyone has a giant list of video games, all those like 10 to 20 hour PS2 single player games that everyone's heard of and no one gets around to playing, and you spend the same amount of time you could spend playing those, playing one game, and it's almost always going to be more fulfilling. Getting into a medium actually feels like a kind of an actual accomplishment. It's just as useless, but it is genuinely more fulfilling to the soul.
Well, okay,
And that's it for this episode of the Procrastinators podcast.
Wait. Last question. Russell asks, will you guys go to the final BronyCon next year?
So we might have to cut that out.
Hell yeah.
Okay,
yes.
yeah, we are.
I don't care what the other guys are doing. I don't care what anyone else is doing.
I'm
I'm
going
going.
to
as well.
I don't.
Hey, I think that might be when
Yes.
RadCon whatever is, because I'm going to go to Boston, and I'm just going to commute down to Baltimore when that happens. So if like 4 of us are already there, we should just do it then.
I
It'll
think,
be like
I think
catch
before RadCon 4, we got to do RadCon Horse. That's what that sounds
That's
like.
true. Let me
RadCon
clarify, in
Horse!
case people didn't catch
RadCon
that.
4, RadCon Horse!
Just so people are aware, the final BronyCon ever is next year, August whatever.
August
so
1st through 4th.
Considering that,
First
there's
to-
one
first
chance
to
to
fourth.
get your ass to BronyCon, friends, to meet the Horseshoe Crew.
You know,
I'm
this
gonna
means,
go
right?
there.
Me and Devu are gonna have to languish as being a Horseshoe
Yeah,
Crew
your
CMC
sub Horseshoe
members.
Crew.
Yeah.
Yep, that's right. That's right.
What'd you say?
Devu, me and you aren't Horseshoe Crew members.
CMC.
We're gonna have to be the Horseshoe
Yeah.
Crew CMC.
Oh,
yeah,
that's adorable.
That's right.
But we have to get a past analysis back.
Yeah.
Jeez.
He's the apple.
Oh, man.
Who else would have been a CMC?
Past analysis,
Oh, guys,
was
we got,
officially a Horseshoe Crew CMC member. That's a real title that he had.
That's true. Hey, can I get a yay or nay real quick, guys?
forget
think that next BronyCon will be the appropriate time to conduct into the Horseshoe Crew officially Toon Critic Y2K.
Yeah.
I think that's the time.
We are
to
going
bring
to
him
douse
the
him with
fold
holy
at
water. We're
last.
going to everything that has been alleged against him. We are going to reverse. We're going to make everyone forget what's happening and
Yeah.
induct him.
Well,
I
are
have
we
no
gonna,
desire
like,
to go to
create the
BronyCon
official
next year. That's it.
We'll see how you feel.
Yeah,
about
we'll
that.
see.
We're all
When
going.
you have a
Have
gun
great
to your
time.
fucking head, you will see how you feel. that.
Everybody, patreon.com/theprocrastinators, $5 for the bonus episodes, including the new bonus episode out right now, Monsters 2. Listen all the way for a little surprise at the end. But enjoy that. $1, get into the fucking patron lounge, get the questions that we answered at TP Crastinators on Twitter. Follow us for updates and shit. Subscribe, like, comment, and die, you piece of trash. Thank you for listening to this episode of
If
the
this
Procrastinators
episode gets
Podcast.
100 likes, we're gonna add Doge to the PCP. Let's add Doge. Let's get the
Yeah!
10th member. Doge will be here.
See you then, everybody. Bye.
Doge, Doge of the jungle. Doge.
Yeah. Doge. I'm supposed to be worried.